This man sees the world through a bizarre kaleidoscope of illogical wonder.
Radio X.
So that's the sort of thing I do to distract you when I say something unacceptable.
Russell Brand. Ray X.
You are listening to the Russell Brand podcast. Hello, it's Desert Island Discs. I'm Kirsty Young. With me this week and cast off to Island is Noel Gallagher. All right, Noel's with us on the podcast. Thanks for joining us for the podcast. Bit of additional content. Matt's here, of course.
Yes.
Terrible attitude. All right, so what we do is we do like a little intro to the podcast. Thanks for downloading it. Tell all your friends. And then we sort of listen to the radio show. Then we analyse the radio show. So have a listen to this radio show, and then there'll be more Noel Gallagher round the back. Do you know what I mean? A little bit of Noel round the back. Have a little go at him. Okay, so here's the radio show.
Radio X. Russell Brand.
Life, eh? This is it. We're in the middle of life. You're listening to Russell Brand on Radio X. It's Sunday. Just calm down now. You've had a tough time and you didn't deserve it. None of it was your fault. Before this happened, we were listening to Oasis, the importance of being idle. And I think the news was probably just after that. I do switch off, and not physically. I don't listen at all, actually. No, I do listen. I'm very interested in this. But it's good to listen to Oasis because later on the show will be one of the members of that group.
How professional that was.
It's a young man called Bonehead who used to play the drums rather well, as I recall.
I think he was a bass player, wasn't he?
I don't remember all the Bonehead's jobs.
He was a guitarist.
Well, Neil mimed that at you, so don't pretend to have
Could have been a bass guitar.
Inside trivia knowledge. And the person that's claiming to know more about Oasis than they actually do, it's Mr. Matt Morgan. Hello, Matt.
Hello, mate.
You happy to be doing a radio show?
Yes.
Just the two of us today, because Mr. G is off wasting his time.
I didn't even notice. That's bad of me.
What, you didn't actually notice that G wasn't there?
I just sort of thought he was coming later or something.
Well, he is coming later.
Well, there you go. Why mention it then?
Because there's, I don't know, in my mind, I formulate the way I begin the show. I talk to you for a bit to establish our rapport, then I turn to Mr. G and say he'll be summarising the show with a poem, which how's he going to do that?
Let's
He's not
spite
here.
him by talking about a lot of easy-to-rhyme stuff.
Yes, all right.
This bit that he's not present for.
Don't mention
and then when he comes,
orange
talk about
at any
Czechoslovakia. Orange does rhyme with a word. I've said this to you before.
I know, you're always saying it. It's
like Charles Brandreth.
Go on, Giles.
Sporange.
I know.
It releases spores.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you very much, Matt Morgan.
I'll be over here in Dictionary Corner if you need me.
Now, listen, this is going to be actually a great show. We're very confident in it. The big bosses are thrilled with what we did last week. Really well. The bosses are pleased. And look at the guests we got this week. Theo Pathitis.
God.
Theo Pathitis.
You ever watched any of his programs? You'd know how to say that if you'd watched the programs.
Sir, you think I don't watch the Dragon's Lair? Of course I do. Now, what you do, hotshot young business folks come in and say, hey, listen, I know I'm in the Dragon's Lair, but you griffins, you're going to give me a few quid, a few pound notes to invest in my new bicycle shop. Theo Pathitis is coming in here.
It's getting better.
Theo Pathitis, we're edging towards. By the time he's on the line, which he is going to be, Matt, judging some of your business schemes, some of your get-rich-quick schemes.
Well, all my ideas that everyone laughed at already exist, which shows they were good ideas.
How about your main business idea? Bother listeners of the show for donations, like a highwayman.
Well, he might, if he wants to get in on that.
You had the poor lad in the corner. Who was
in.
it that we had in here last week? A couple of weeks
Taylor.
back. We had lovely James Taylor. I loved James Taylor. There's meant to be people behind a glass panel. In the second half of this radio show, Noel Gallagher's here. I tried to start it as early as possible to squeeze him right to concertina him to the very end of the show. I've had a word with him earlier. I've said, Noel, we want you to be upbeat and polite.
When it came on last time.
Too spiky. I think he misjudged it. I don't know what's. I think he misjudged the tone. You know, of like.
Well, maybe that's how it was in the old days. It was a bit more.
Well, and we've just become more sensitive, or me in particular, have just become more.
No,
sensitive.
I think that's yeah.
He's not changed.
We've changed. It's not him. It's us.
Like when that woman said, "Who was it that go? Was it Greta Garbo?" Goes that no, I didn't get small. Movies got small or something. I can't remember what it was. Something like
it's
that.
a fascinating fact.
But anyway, there'll be more Russell Brand's
Greta Garbo.
Greta Garbo. Listen, so there's some items coming. There's us talking to Theo Pathitis about Matt Morgan's
Can you have
business
an idea? Because I don't want this to be like
I've got one.
Wheeling me out and humiliating me.
Oh, don't you like the idea of the wheel Matt out and humiliating Matt? And what about, and also there's Matt Morgan's Forgotten Treasures, or whatever that was called.
Forgotten Knowledge.
That was a lovely item, wasn't it? I think people all like that.
Lovely.
Let me see. Get off that bit.
What is that music?
That's something you must never be told about. That's private.
Gallery, yeah.
I wrote that piece myself, actually. I wrote that. I compose now. That's one of the things I do. No, so there's going to be a lot of music coming up, lovely records. You can come see me on my Rebirth tour, Birmingham. Oh, it's coming up for Christmas. Leicester. Oh, 6th of December. Brixton, 19th of December. Go russellbrand.com and, come and see me live, as people often do. And when I mention Matt Morgan, as I do in the show, normally in a derisory manner, often there are supportive jeers from the Matt Morgan.
When I was there, it was just a stone cold silence.
No, but actually, I'd already said you were there and you'd had an applause. Don't you remember? I said, Matt Morgan's here, everyone. And everyone was really pleased.
I don't remember that, actually, no.
Because you edit things out to maintain a negative worldview. I maintain that about you. When positive things happen, I think you ignore them. You just
I might do, yeah.
You've got an apocalyptic mindscape. So last night, the big news is the Marlow Christmas lights were turned on by me. And by Jove, did it go well. I've never felt more like somebody in One Direction. The streets were packed. I was on top of a double-decker bus with a mayor, Jocelyn Town. It's a good name for a mayor, that, isn't it? Jocelyn Town.
That's great.
Because it's like she's jostling the town.
So the town's jostling tonight. I bet you did.
I didn't. I didn't, and we've got footage of me not saying that I can present to you. I made lots of local people very happy with my references.
I bet you did a right bum licking.
Go on, what do you think I did? Try and do your version
I bet you looked on Wikipedia at the history of Marlow.
I did do that, yeah.
And then you went right in with
Marlow, or is it used to be known, Le Fur Mo, which means drained swamp. Did you know that?
Oh.
Of course you didn't, because you don't look into the town of Marlow and its traditions and our cherished treasures. Don't you want to see our cherished treasures? Don't you want to see our cherished...
What happened then? So you did a countdown?
Yep.
Did you do the countdown or did you just start it?
No, Radio Marlow FM did the countdown. But look, what I will say, this is what I've got to get across to you. I don't know if you guys remember a little thing called Beatlemania. It was a lot like that, but in a small town in Buckinghamshire.
With the people running away from you?
They were terrified. They were seeing people flee. It was like, no, the streets were jammed wall to wall. It was like a football terrace. And for all people,
well, they were there
to
see the lights turn on.
Well, look, I'm not saying I deserve all of the credit. I'm not saying that Russell Brand is a real draw on Marlow
cheer
High Street.
Electricity.
In a way, well, actually, I believe in ritual and ceremony, and I said, what is a town? Town is a belief system.
Oh, you didn't do that, did you?
I did.
Why'd you wheel that out?
I wheeled it out.
I mean, what is a light? What is a me? I mean, yeah, I'm more famous and more important than you guys, but I mean, is that really real? I suppose it is. What is a light?
Look, why don't you want to hear my speech? Because here is my speech. After mentioning things like the local garage, Platts. After talking about my favourite Indian,
I suppose
Malik.
If the bus breaks down, we'll have to take it over to Platts.
Good old Mr. Platt could be.
He's a grumpy so-and-so.
It wasn't stand-up live from Trumpton. It was edgy. It was Lenny Bruce on a Cliff Richard bus. Summer holiday with a real edge.
What did you say?
I said, firstly, I mentioned my favourite Indian, Malik's. I mentioned Tom Kerridge, local chef. I said he's treating the town like Monopoly, buying everything up and all of that sort of stuff.
Edgy?
Yeah. Hello. Steady on, guys. Bit hot under the collar here.
Some of the people
I talked about seeing
Stephen Kerridge a bashing. I like him. I wouldn't want to be Tom Kerridge right now. He's been roasted. Roast him up. He's as roasted as one of his gammon pies.
That's the sort of thing people eat, isn't it?
You could have used that.
I could have done. I've roasted Tom. At least better cook them one of his ham steaks, one of his tuna fish fries.
Come back next year.
I'm actually just going to sleep here till then. That was all very good and funny, as you can hear. I talked about seeing Sir Steve Redgrave in his natural environment. I goes, that's the Marlow Safari. I've seen Steve Redgrave rowing. Oh, and there he is. Oh, Steve Redgrave, covered in squid ink oozing from his glands. I didn't do that. I didn't subject anyone to any of that.
You thought that?
I did think about that. I did think about doing my world-class
What if you just launched into...
I felt that side of my personality had to be held very much at bay. There were loads of children. There was fake snow. There were people leaning out of windows. It was absolutely amazing. But the thing that turned the lights on,
people
though...
leaning out of windows.
One man leant out of a window with a chamber pot full of his own muck. Slung it into the direction of Brand. Look, here's my deep bit of speech. You come here to see the Christmas lights, but those lights, they light up together, don't they? You wouldn't be interested in just one individual bulb, but you're interested in the electricity that surges through them. And isn't Marlow, or any town, a bit like that? The energy that runs through all of us that is expressed in our manifest consciousness. Merry Jesus, everyone. Stuff like that.
Oh, dear.
And then the lights are actually turned on, Matthew, by like a plunger.
Oh, yeah.
Like that looks, like if the Wile E. Coyote, he's got going to blow up Roadrunner, and he's got that spirally thing. And that was the hardest joke to not make, was this is an inappropriate lever that you've constructed, because the visual reference you're using there is demolition. You're not using like a lever that's pulled downwards.
Yeah, it's like a...
Yeah, that's an explosive charge.
A countdown.
There was a countdown.
Been rigged by very sort of clever
Machiavellian
terrorists.
terror merchants, like the Joker out of Batman. Like Joker out of Batman?
Like the end of Carrie, you just stood there, everything collapsing and burning. You go, no, why? Come back! Alf's Garage! Remember when I said that thing? What was it? Scott's Garage.
Tom Kerridge, beloved Tom
Oh,
Kerridge.
the garage.
Platt's
Alf's
Garage.
Garage. Do you think I was trying to say Tom Kerridge?
What about that chef, Alf's Garage?
I got a lovely salad at Alf's Garage made it.
Oh, it's 5 stars.
Tom Kerridge.
You can do it, Matt. Come on.
What was the name of the garage?
Platt's.
Platt's
Garage.
Garage, Tom Kerridge.
Platt's Garage. Tom
Easily
Kerridge.
done.
Put me on an awesome carriage. It's a go to Marlow, everyone. It's Christmas time.
Well, I hear the lights have been taken down now.
They took them down. There was a terrible, terrible explosion. Moments later, electricity went for miles around. Now, it was a very upbeat event because, there was some fear it might turn into a public lynching of old Russ. No, of course not. And I brought a lot of my friends from kickboxing, my mates from the Genesis gym.
Oh, did you?
Well, they wanted to come. I didn't
On the
bring them
bus?
just as security.
With their fingers in their ears, going, okay, we've got someone at 3 o'clock here. It's an old lady. There's a man leaning out a window.
Grab that chamber pot! Quick, smart!
Did you feel, was there any...
No, it was one of the most...
Ooh!
I say, sir, we had Mary Berry last year. Fetch her back. Fetch Mary Berry back. Or make a bloody bread and butter pudding quick smart or some sort of tart. Come on.
They love it, really.
Yeah, it was really good. It was a really lovely event, and I was very glad to participate. And what I couldn't help thinking the whole time there, Matt, is wouldn't that have sounded lovely as a poem? That whole, what we were just saying there, full of rhymes, perfect thing to be in a poem. But where is Mr. G when you need him? Wasting his time at, let me have a look, Grenfell. He's actually doing social work for Grenfell. G's totally involved in community, isn't he? So he's helping
terrible.
children. I know, because what are we doing for the community? Obviously, there's this. And one of the things that's great about being me, one of the many things, is many things, I mean, too many to list, is that people often say to me, I'm mentally ill, like you, Russell. That's implied by the way they move their eyebrows, or like that other poor fella you do the show with.
Yes.
And they say, we find it so uplifting to listen to your radio show.
I've got a theory about this. I think normal people would listen to this and think, God, they're talking too fast. They keep changing the subject. They never follow through on anything they say. But people with a sort of slightly speeded up brain, they can follow this.
It's like dog whistle racism, isn't it? Or dog whistle sexism. Like, it's like you can, like, they like it. They hear the dog whistle madness. So if you put this to a mentally ill person, this radio show, they go all normal.
It sounds like
get on with their shopping.
It sounds like the news.
Hello, welcome to the news. Yeah. I was in Marlow, Tom Kerridge, back it up, wee-wee, plunge. Yeah, but not a mentally ill person goes, yeah, that's good. That all makes perfect sense.
Yes.
What a fine piece of
Just the
broadcasting.
shipping forecast.
They enjoy it very much. So you'll go, we're going to have a record in a moment and an advert and things like that.
It sounds so lovely.
It's going to be ever so nice.
It's so Christmassy.
Isn't it Christmassy? But I want to know exactly what you've been up to, really, because aren't you planning to become an outdoorsman? You'll be telling us about this in a
I
minute.
looked after my own children for 5 days straight with no wife to help me.
I know.
That was a challenge.
I phoned you. It was like calling a war zone. It really was. I could hear
Yeah, that
people
was a
in
low
the
point.
background.
That was bedtime. I'm trying to get them to bed, and you don't pick up on the signs. Oh, yeah, no, I need to get these two to bed. Well, I suppose.
Bed. What does it mean? The ritual
Is a
of
bed.
bedtime.
Have you ever heard of quantum theory? Well, listen, Russell, they were literally both of them screaming. He's
Yes.
like, well, it sounds a challenge. Anyway, quantum theory.
Yes, in a hurry to get the kids to bed. Yes, that's a great analogy. Aren't we all in a hurry to get our kids to bed?
Moby Dick. Let me read a small reading for you. Majesty, your late father and I would enjoy the spectacle of the Christmas lights, and as the illumined sky would twinkle and sparkle, the two of us would exchange a glance, knowing that the real glow was to be found elsewhere, twitching betwixt the thighs of a canine, and we'd scramble away from the crowds, Majesty, and make our way across the cold flagstone floor of those Victorian streets to a lowly cur couched in the corner of a courtyard, trembling with anticipation. Then your father, Majesty, would grip his tail right at the stump, and I would grip the appendage between my finger and thumb, and your father, knowing what was coming next and barely able to conceal his laughter, would produce his vanity case and take an emery board, and then, first quickly and then very, very slowly, file at the tip of that ancillary organ with such aggression that before long a flat surface was revealed, and within that surface cells, and within those cells larvae, and within other cells eggs, glistening in the cross-section flatness like a sweet honeycomb, Majesty.
Okay, let's have some adverts, and what? And then straight into Theo Paphitis. Are you sure? I don't
too
rush
soon,
into
but we have
Theo
to
Paphitis.
probably because he's a busy man. It's probably a time thing.
He'll be sat around
Everyone's
now.
nodding.
I bet he's just picking stuff off his toes right now, giggling and doing blow-offs in the bath. He's not got a proper job. On Dragon's Lair, how many days a week is that? I've watched it. Can't take more than half out of film. All right, we'll have an advert. Then we'll be talking to the star of Dragon Lair, Phil Paphitis.
This
is Radio X.
Russell Brand.
That was Sarah Gummidge with her new track, Why Do I Bother, Darling, If You Don't Even Love Me? Bands, Theo. That's one of the things I'll be talking to him about.
He knows his markets.
Of course he knows his markets. You've got to in that game. In fact, I think I've met him before, as a matter of fact. So, all right, let's have a look at some emails. I know, it's important. I'll just pretend. What people always say is, nice to see you. Nice seeing you. It's another one of my techniques.
He's on the phone.
If you're going somewhere, pretend you're going. I'm going to try and pitch to Theo saying just a minute when you're going to the toilet.
Yeah,
Have
try and
someone
get that
knock on the door.
trademarked.
I should be able to get something done. Actually, Theo was almost my most favourite of the Dragons, and I believe he's actually on the phone now. So, cross your fingers, everyone, because this is a big moment for us, because we sit on the precipice of literal billions. Theo, are you there? Theo?
Almost your favourite.
Look, Theo, it's a Dragon's Lair was always a dog-eat-dog environment. It was competitive as heck, and I used to like the very long man. You know, the very long one that's at the end. He's quite friendly, and I think he's
The tall fella.
big tall
Tall
fella.
fella.
Peter.
He's a freak. He's a freak.
He was an oddball, wasn't he? I mean, that's not what.
I mean, you see the size of it.
He's an unnatural brute, wasn't he?
Yes. I mean, I walk down the street, meet people, and they say to me, "My God, you're taller than we thought you were."
That's ridiculous. He was undermining you. I say that he should have presented that show from within a ditch. They should have dug a trench round him so that other people seemed natural heights like you. Thank you for coming on the show.
I couldn't agree with you more.
You actually, so nowadays, what I wonder when I watched that programme was how can you ever possibly filter the complex world of economics into this format of a TV show? And how does the experience of watching them talk about their mostly madcap ideas relate to the dog-eat-dog world of business, finance and commerce? I thought it can't be reduced to that, can it? But can it, Theo?
That's an incredibly complicated introduction to it.
Yep, that's a negative.
I mean, I've got to say, we did get the good, the bad, and the ugly. And you did have to take a view on what was good, bad, and ugly. And certainly in the first couple of series, got that very wrong. We got better as we went along.
What do you mean? Why was it wrong in the first few series?
Because I didn't recognise the bad and the ugly as well as I did later.
Did you ever make any proper wedge out of any of them schmoes?
Oh yes.
Did you, mate?
Yes. Oh yes.
You actually made money out of it. They were good ideas.
Yes, but we lost money as well.
Yeah, well, that's less good, isn't it? I know how business works. So, but generally, business is booming in your numerous enterprises. You're doing well.
I'm a humble shopkeeper, and as you can see from the budget earlier on this week, it's all tough out there.
You're
so we're having to
self-made
work
man, aren't
incredibly
you?
hard.
You've made yourself just using street smarts and your own natural intelligence and instincts. Is that right?
Lots of luck,
Yeah,
and lots of hard work.
Sometimes I think it's better to be born with a magical gift within yourself rather than being born rich. Don't you think?
Well, I would definitely agree with that because I've got some really rich-born friends, and that they can be plonkers sometimes.
Yeah, it's probably a bit complicated. You might feel a bit stymied by the wealth. Much better to be born with the old gift. Now, Theo, we're actually obviously I want to talk to you about the nature of capitalism and the way that it's in a way inherently a self-destructive economic mechanic. Although that I do see that as being distinct from entrepreneurialism, which is creativity in the world of commerce, which is a good thing. But before we get into the complexities of global economics, let's step down several hundred rungs to the lair of Matthew Morgan. Matt Morgan, who I do this show with, is my very, very dear friend, in many ways a spiritual partner of mine. Reckons he's got good ideas. I say they're all rubbish. Now, I would like you to cast your expert, in this case, earhole, over his brain gubbins.
My ear-roll is switched on, but I'd just like to tell you that the business is not that complicated as that introduction.
All right, go on. Can you make it sound more simple? Because I struggle with things like that.
It is. You normally do something that gives you a profit. So you buy something, sell it for more, make sure your costs are less than the more that you make.
Costs?
It's not that complicated.
This is what I learned off of the back of a book I read half of the back of once, is that really the all profit should be that the profit itself is problematic. That the value of the worker's labour should be returned to the worker.
Well, everything has a value, and something has a value of what someone's prepared to pay for it. And in between that value, if there is no profit, then there is no work.
I see. You think that the free market...
There's no work.
Unless people were prepared to, I suppose... Do you think, I note here, Theo, you do loads and loads of work for charity. You've got your own trust. You help the Royal Manchester Children's Hospital. You're a patron of that. I get the idea that you use your gift to generate a lot of good. But I can't help think we're stymied by systems that continually value profit over, I bet some of the most valuable things you've done are things that have helped other people, ain't they?
Well, every day. Listen, every day you count yourself lucky. Right, because I said that earlier. I'm very lucky in lots of things I do. I work incredibly hard, and you would, in an ideal world. I mean, I am this closet socialist that realises socialism doesn't actually work. But you'd like to think lots of parts of it can work, and we've all got a responsibility.
Yeah, I know. It's a difficult one for us all to manage, and I think that you and I can have an ongoing conversation about the way the world of commerce and economics can become more fair and more just. I'd love to be involved.
But we're going to pull the pants off everybody if we try and do that on air.
God, that's very good producing, Theo. You just dragon's denned me right up my own radio hole. So here, listen, Theo, will you do this thing with Max? It's much richer in entertainment value.
I'm all ears. I'm all ears.
Right, go on then, Matt Morgan.
I'm less of a Marxist.
Yeah.
I want to make some money.
You're more Marxist and Spencerist, aren't you, mate?
Theo, apparently some of my ideas actually already exist. They're that good. But don't let that put you off.
Well, they weren't your ideas then, were they? If they already exist, they weren't your ideas.
They were my ideas, but then when I found out they already existed...
Theo's gone in quite hard there, and I'd like to back you there,
I like
Theo.
it. I like to be treated very badly.
You deserve it.
Well, one of my ideas was a child's shoe that grows with the child. That apparently exists. Not in the way that I meant it. I meant it was sort of...
What do you think about that, Theo? A child's shoe that grows...
He's gone silent. With
a little horrible buckley boot. Can you imagine it? Sort of extending like a little concertina. It already exists, and let me tell you, it's an eyesore.
It reminds me of elasticated trousers.
Elasticated trousers for the foot. Foot trousers by Matt Morgan.
Well, elastic trousers have made a lot of money, haven't they? Last time I looked.
They exist, but they exist.
They exist. We could say that.
You're naming things that exist. Now do another
right.
idea.
An online shopping delivery box. You buy stuff online, you sometimes miss it. So what you do is you buy a steel container with a code. You give the code to Amazon or whoever. Other people do deliveries. They drop it off at your house. You never miss a delivery again. It's bolted to your house.
What do you think of that, Theo? And these. I will say, Matt's not trying to annoy you. These are genuine ideas that he's trying to make. He's trying to make money. He thinks he's going to make money out of this stuff. What's going on?
It already exists.
People have got boxes.
All right, then,
That's in geometry in ancient Greece.
Let me drop
Theo's
the big
from.
one. Theo, do you know anything about apps?
Apps.
You in that market?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, go for it.
It's getting flashy now. Can you hear me?
You might want to sit down for this. You know the term IOU? Yeah, you've all heard that.
He's angry.
This is an app called UOI, right? Yeah. Now, if you lend someone 20 quid, or one of your friends buys 5 tickets to a gig for 5 people, and then
Perhaps for Russell Brand, great show.
Quite please. It's for small debts, right? And there's no sort of contract involved, is there, in those things? And it sort of drags on for months. It's embarrassing. What you do is you both log into the app. You say, £10, he owes me, right? And then there's some sort of time.
Horrible swallow there.
You got to, I feel like I'm on Dragon's Den. That's it, basically.
Are you sweating at this stage? I just want to visualise. This.
No, I feel very relaxed. I'm
The
so
dragons
confident
are
in this
irritated
idea.
by Matt's rubbish idea.
Hang on.
Theo's looking at his shoes,
Let me just sell
which
this again.
notably are not elastic trousers.
Can I start again, please, Theo?
Yeah, I think you best.
Okay, look, it's a good app, right? If you owe someone money, if you're going to borrow money off someone, then you both log into the app, so they both got to download it. There's ads on the app. We make money out of it, right? And then the app reminds you, like a week before you've agreed to pay it back, you owe this. Someone's found it on a bloody internet. Does it exist?
Do you get paid for this?
He's getting paid. Do you know I actually give him more money than I take from the show because out of kindness and love? Can you imagine that?
That's not true.
Me with all my talent.
Russell, with all due respect, if I had your money, I'd burn mine.
Oh my God! It would be a big fire for a little reward.
I've just found out that 5 apps exist that do that job, so therefore it was a good idea. I didn't research it. I was asked to come up with stuff. I did that on the train in. Theo, imagine that.
Theo, I want to blow. Have you got any comments on Matt Morgan's lousy ideas, which is what I'm thinking of calling this item?
I think the good news is Matt should just stick to his day job. I mean, there's no question that he's in the right environment,
right?
And he shouldn't try and branch out, because he's going to starve.
Theo, you will starve to death on the basis of your ideas. That is from a professional business person. Theo, here's my idea. Are you ready?
Go for it.
The world has become a place of confusion and disillusion. People are disillusioned with politics. People don't know what to do anymore. There's lots of fear. There's a sense of division. We need an annual festival where people come together to discuss new ideas. Think TED Talks, but for everybody. Think yoga, but for the working class. Meditation for every man. Tai Chi for geezers.
Think Glastonbury with speeches instead of bands.
New ideas brought together. People, you
Rubbish.
go there and you change your life and you help one another. Your compassion, you have an opportunity to express your compassion and love by coming to a place where you'll learn things, and the real take-home knowledge is you take home a project where you'll help other people, like a festival for compassion. I lead it and I interview innovative thinkers. You might be a person that we'd love to have yourself. No, it's not. People are holding up festival ideas, but all those festivals are about hedonism and consuming alcohol and consuming drugs. This is like a car fest where the object, instead of being a car, is spirituality. A new way of becoming spiritual, a new way of people coming together. A festival of togetherness built around new ideas at a time when the world needs new ideas. Theo, it's over to you, sir.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more about being disillusioned about what's happening out there, because nobody knows what's happening out there at the moment, and you certainly wonder whether politicians know what's going on out there at the moment. So we're all doing our best in our own little world. Did you know, strangely enough, I was only thinking similarly the other day.
Oh.
We need, no, seriously, but not quite as eloquently as you just put it out. We need something that people can actually hang their hat on at the moment.
A growing show.
There just isn't any. There's just so much delusionment, and there's so much good out there as well, by the way.
That's right, people's kindness and compassion. For example, G, the poet of the show, he's late today, but he's the third member of this ridiculous bicycle. He's off helping at Grenfell doing like community work and teaching kids like how to write English and write stories. He's always doing stuff like that. And I think there's so much goodwill. There's such a need for community and for people to come together. And I say a festival where people come together, where you can change yourself within, using some of the techniques in my brilliant book that can take you from a position of loss and despair to a position of connection and enlightenment. You can do it on a personal level, you can do it on a social level. Big ideas, accessible and applicable in your life. That's what I'm suggesting, Theo, and a festival.
And sustainable though. It's going to be something, an idea or something that's sustainable over the longer term.
Well, which I know, like, in a sense, does imply that there's an economic component. But, like, I feel that one of the reasons that people feel disconnected is because communities have broken down, the church has broken down, belief in politics has broken down. But people still need to feel part of something. People still need to feel part of communities. And, of course, festivals already exist, but those festivals exist so you can go and get off your nut and listen to bands. There's not an expectation that I believe that those festivals are sourced from the idea of pilgrimage, going to a place to change, going to a place to change, exchange ideas and experience community, but everything goes through the filter of commodification and commerce. And of course, I suppose this necessarily would as well. But you would leave there feeling like I've refreshed myself, I've learned about myself, I've not just gone there and got off my head. It's a festival of self-improvement and self-discovery for yourself and for your community.
Well, Russell, I just took while you were saying that, I just took my temperature.
Go on.
And it looks normal. But I'm now worried because I was finding myself agreeing with you for a bit, and I thought maybe something's gone wrong.
Uh-huh.
But listen, I'm very much in line with your thinking. Very much in line with your thinking.
I'm going to want to follow up with you on that because I think that you are a fine example of a person who come from humble beginnings and created something. And I think there's a great deal of energy and a great deal of beauty and brilliance in this country that's going untapped. Not much of it's coming through Matt Morgan with his expandable concertina booties and his tin boxes strapped to a fence. But elsewhere, there is greatness that I think needs to be utilised.
How much is a ticket?
Well, at least
to
we've
this
put Matt
festival?
on the straight and narrow now, haven't we?
We've got to get
put him on the straight and
because
narrow.
Matt is actually a very gifted man outside of entrepreneurship. He's perhaps the funniest person I've ever met in my entire life, and I've spent my whole time trying to distract myself through humour. So yeah, but tin boxes strapped to a 10-foot. We'll encourage him. We've got to keep him on the straight and narrow. But Theo, I'm going to be catching up with you about this festival.
Sounds good, mate.
Yeah, you two making money out of a festival. That's what's going to happen.
That's right.
£300 a ticket. No one will go who should be going. It'll just be rich people who already agree with you.
No, that's one of the challenges. We want to make sure that ordinary people, because
give tickets away then to some people.
All right, I'm down with that. I'm down to listening to Matt's ideas, as long as you don't try and strap a tin box to anyone's back and make them a sort of human delivery metal tortoise or something.
I'll have a stall there selling growing shoes.
Lovely. Theo, thanks for coming on the show and being patient and
Pleasure.
tolerant. You're a lovely
Thank
man.
you, Theo.
We're going to be back in touch with you. Thank you, mate.
Good speaking to you. Look forward to that.
Thanks.
Take care.
See ya.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
He probably lost about £40,000 in the time it took
Cost him a bomb, isn't it? Sitting listening to that claptrap.
Absolute nonsense.
All right, what we're going to do now is we're going to have a little bit of an advert, and after the advert, we're going to be we're going to be building utopias. Is what we're going to be doing. We've got Noel Gallagher coming up on this show later on. We've got more from Matt Morgan. We've got more of your emails because remember, this festival already exists. We are that festival. You are that festival. Everything you need is already inside you, but that don't mean we won't try and sell it back to you. Triumph.
Russell Brand
This
is Radio X.
That was the Stereophonics. What do you mean I went too serious with Theo?
Well, basically, I was told, pitch some rubbish ideas to Theo so we can all have a good laugh.
out of it.
And then you went, oh, Theo, yes, my friend's not well, but listen to my festival idea. And then you launched off into a proper thing where you were passionate about it.
Yep, passion. You've got to learn that in life, Matt. Passion is what sells. People, you don't sell the steak, you sell the scissor. That's what I always used to say when I was a little girl growing up in Sidcup, and people used to come for me. They used to come for me with business advice.
Come for me?
They used to come for me. They used to lunge at me for business advice, and I used to go, "You don't sell the steak, sell the scissor."
I don't even know what you're saying. You don't sell the steak. What?
You don't sell the steak, you sell the scissor. You don't sell the steak, you sell the scissor.
Can you say in just a normal voice?
Don't sell the steak, you sell the sizzle.
You don't sell the steak, you sell the sizzle.
That's right. Sizzle!
Right, okay.
Want some sizzle? Sizzle for
Well, that just
sale!
means like a load of old rubbish.
No, it doesn't. It means that people buy into ideas and not the actuality. It's the people are attracted to
That
concept.
to me sounds like you're selling poor quality steak.
That's right.
Huge sound effect.
Well, also, I suppose, what is it that draws people to things? Think of everything you ever buy. It never does the job. Look at those sunglasses. I really loved them. Actually,
That's not true.
Like them. I still
Got a
quite
wool
like 'em.
jumper over there that's as warm as toast.
How long you had, old woolly bully?
Came this morning.
Woolly bully. You've only had it a morning. Woolly bully. You've only had it a morning. You ain't had time to get
I'm
bored
going
of
to
it.
go and live outside for 2 days. I need wool.
Right. I've got a lot of questions about this.
100%.
But first of all, remember we're doing a live show soon. When is it going to be? 17th of December.
Yep.
Sadly, there's only 28 seats available. But anyone who wants to at any time can come and stand behind a glass panel. What did HR say, Neil, when you asked about the efficacy, feasibility, and plausibility of of standing behind a glass panel?
It's doable.
People can stand behind a glass panel.
I hate to say this, and I
you
don't
been
want to
down a
sound
glass panel?
fatphobic, but you can't fit in there. I could barely fit in there.
What, to the gap? The gap to get
There's
to it.
quite a tight gap to get in there.
If you're fat, you needn't bother applying for this. Thin people, thin, spindly folks.
Extremely motivated fat people will get in.
Yeah, they're prepared to butter up, cutie, and get yourself behind a glass. I want to see some buttery chubs behind that glass panel. A nice buttery chubster wedged all in like an aquarium of skin right behind us. You don't sell the steak, sell the sit up. You don't sell the steak, sell the sit up. You can come behind a glass panel. How big's the gap? I think I can get behind it. And
You'll get in there.
I'm very thick at the hip.
No, you're very slim.
Yeah, no, you're not gonna. It's not that bad of it. Look,
It's about a foot and a bit.
Look, we won't be prejudiced against people on this. If you can't fit down the behind the glass panel, you can jolly well stand here with me. I'd like it. But behind that window, that's the buttery...
Keep making these claims. Do you know what? People complain to me on Instagram because you said get 100 people to follow the podcast or whatever.
Look, I don't do
and
the
they
admin.
did
That's
that.
Neil and Gareth. They were supposed to do the admin. And
People
did they find 100 people?
Stayed up all night doing it, and then you changed the goalposts.
That's really hurt me. Because I make this show for people motivated almost sheerly and entirely by love, right? You know that. So that hurts me to think of people, because I know what it's like to want to be behind a glass panel, and a lot of people share that feeling. E.g. Dominic Duggan. Hi, guys. He sent me an email. If you want to send me an email, send it to... What's my email address, Neil? Russell@RadioX. Russell@RadioX.co.uk. Send me an email, Russell@RadioX.co.uk. And you can apply for the live show at Russell@RadioX.
What is this spare tickets still?
We've got 28 tickets to shift. We're going to have to go on the road. I'm going to try and get booked on the One show. See if we can promote it.
We should do a big gig where everyone could come. As everyone who wants to come can come.
I'd say let these people in there in the corridor taking photos of me right now. Let them in. Stick them. Right, let's try out the glass panel with these people. Come here. Do you want to go behind a glass panel?
They can't hear you. They're through a glass panel.
Oh, no, that's one of the problems. The glass panel is soundproof. No one can hear a single thing. Now, Neil is going to experiment now with putting
Neil's worked out a
corridor
way
workers.
of someone being in there and being able to talk to us.
That's brilliant. That's exactly what we want.
the
Someone behind a
wrong
glass
way.
panel. Dominic Duggan sent us an email at russell@radiox.co.uk. You can send us that, or you can tweet me at Rusty Rockets. I don't know if you could do the item gay anymore when we used to help people with problems that were related to same-sex sexuality. That's what we used to do in the old days. Very popular item. But I wondered if you could help anyway. I've been a fan of Oasis for many years. Admire both of those Gallagher lads so much. Recently, Noel has taken to putting topless photos of Matthew McConaughey up on his thing, and I think he's going through something. Could you guys help him through this time and to finally embrace that he does like women, but he likes men an awful lot more, which used to be
When
the
he
slogan
puts
of
them
our
on
own
his
gang.
thing, it means on his Instagram.
It's right, not an appendage of his anatomy.
No.
So Noel Gallagher's putting topless pictures of Matthew McConaughey, not on an appendage of his anatomy, but on his Instagram account.
He does do it. I've seen him do it. He said he met him in Brazil, I think, at a wedding.
Yeah. Did he?
Something like that. And
Went to a Brazilian wedding.
no,
This
he
is
went
Noel.
to someone's wedding. It was like, I don't know. Don't get caught up in the
Yeah,
details.
don't get
But
caught
anyway,
up. He'll be
he
here
met him
later.
and he loves him.
So one of the things we'll be asking Noel, who's here
What's
doubtless
going on
to
with
promote
Matthew
his album,
McConaughey?
why do you love Matthew McConaughey?
Can I say I'm
Yeah.
impressed that you can say McConaughey?
Well, what do you think I should say?
Oh,
McConaughey.
McConaughey or something? I
Matthew
don't know.
McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey's better, isn't it?
Sean Connery. Okay.
Now, I'm looking at Neil, the producer of the show. He's behind a glass panel and he's with a woman colleague, possibly. Or just colleague if you don't give gender adjectives to humans, which I'm thinking of never doing again. Right, go on, let's hear them. I think they can talk from behind the glass panel. Hello.
Hello,
What is your name, please?
Abby.
Hello, Abby. What are you doing behind that glass panel?
I don't actually know. I didn't even realise this existed.
See? It's nice, isn't it?
It's like a whole new room.
That's right. And people disparage the glass panel, Abby, but actually it's a wonderful utopia, isn't it? It's a little
Terrifying because you're just hanging out over Leicester Square.
Yeah, but I like that, to be hanging out over Leicester Square behind a glass panel. Well, you're actually between two glass panels. You're in the glass. The other one's a window.
It's like you're a fly trapped in double glazing.
Yeah, but like on one side it's a window looking out into London's Leicester Square, and the other side it's a glass panel coming in here. And Abby's in there. Abby, do you work here at Global or Radio X or something?
I do. Yeah, I do. I work down the corridor.
Well, now the corridor is going to seem like a post-apocalyptic wasteland now that you've experienced the wonders of the glass panel, isn't it?
It really is. I feel like I could come here every day.
You can.
So we could put people in there, but
And so can others.
they need an earpiece and a mic each.
Well, that's only if they want to listen to the radio show, and why would they? You know, they could just be in perfect silence behind a glass panel watching us. Who are the fish? Hey, when you're at the zoo, are the animals watching us, man? Or are we watching the animals? Like, see, the glass panellists, they could be behind there, free as birds. That's what I think, watching us. It's a good item, isn't it?
It's lovely.
Is this the best thing that's happened to you, perhaps, or possibly even in your whole life?
Yes.
See?
Like I've worked here for maybe 6-7 years, and I did not even know this existed. It's wonderful, Russell.
On the Russell Brand Radio Show, what we do is we open up whole new worlds. We show that paradise is within your mind. Ooh, baby, do you know what that's worth? Heaven is a place on earth. That's what it is. As it says in the Bible, the kingdom of heaven is within. That's, I believe, our Lord Jesus said that.
Okay, now turn off their power. Turn off their microphone.
Turn off the panellists, the glass panellists. I like them being there.
Chair over the little door.
No. What, you want to trap them in a glass panel? Oh, like you're a madman. All right, well, thank you, Abby, and thank you, Neil. So the glass panel idea lives and people can become behind it. Send us an email if you want to go behind a glass panel. Remember, if you're of larger proportions, it could be fat or it could be muscle. You may have to be wedged down that panel good and hard. Butter them up. Buttery chubsters behind a glass
All right,
panel.
well, let's say that everyone has to send in an email saying they want to be in there. Then we put them all in a hat and 10 are chosen or something.
Sure.
That just has to be a system.
Yeah.
Has to be a system.
All right, mate. There has to be a system. Yes, dear. Yes, dear. Yes, dear. So, all right. Well, I think that's going well. Matt, so you're planning...
Look at this from Daniela at Adagio Teas.
Don't drink Adagio teas. Filthy stuff. Drinks like we don't drink Adagio's tea. It will... All the enamel will come off your teeth.
Don't make slander catchy.
Catchy slander.
Hey guys, I'm looking forward to the live Christmas show and we'll be sending festive teas no matter what Russell says.
Ugh.
I'd also be super happy to arrange some Adagio gifts for the audience.
Vom.
I'm working on a special MMAS themed tea collection.
Yuck.
Hopefully it will blow your socks off. It may be the most obscure thing this company's ever produced.
You won't be able to get your socks blown off because you'll have your feet wedged into stupid Matt Morgan's elastic trouser shoes that Theo laughed off of the radio. Okay, so Daniela from Adagio Tea. Don't drink Adagio teas, bloody stuff.
They're going to provide tea for the live
delicious
show.
tea for the live event. That's going to be fantastic. Noel Gallagher coming up later on this show. What a show it's been, Matt. So you're planning to embrace the wilds, are you?
I am going into a part of the Essex countryside, which is private.
Why are you doing it in a private woods? Because that's basically just a theme park.
Because you can be asked to be, someone can ask you to move on.
Who's going to come into the woods in the dead of night and ask you to move on? What are you
I'm going to
planning
have a big
do
fire. I'm going to be hooting, running around topless. No, I'm just.
Are you going to embrace your animal masculinity?
God, I've already embraced it.
I've been thinking about this. Is this vengeance because your wife went away for a few days? It is, isn't it?
No,
It's a
I want
vengeance
to
trip.
say now, this is
Your
not
wife went
equal
away,
5 days in Tenerife. This is not a contract which I've entered into. This doesn't cancel out. I still am owed 5 days in a foreign country.
No way.
2 days
this
in
is
a
a
wood.
spite camping because Katie went away for 5 days in Tenerife to get away from a very difficult family and an absolute arse of a spouse. Oh, you silly arse! Like, to get away from her spouse, you're going for a vengeful trip to a wood.
Well, who's
aren't
the
you?
victim? It's freezing cold. It's going to be hard. It's going to be. I've got to take everything I need with me.
Guess who's the next guest on Under the Skin? Ed Stafford.
No.
Stafford.
And I bet you haven't watched any of his programmes.
Nope, not one. Ed Stafford. I've not even seen a clip. I don't know what he looks like. I
You
can walk
are
past him in a corridor.
disgusting.
Look, I like Ed Stafford and I'm going to grill him.
He's going to sign my jumper.
I'm going to bear grill him. Do you want him to sign your woolly jumper?
No, not my jumper.
How are
I
you
was
gonna
gonna
phrase
bring
it?
a
I'll play
knife
Ed
or an axe,
Stafford.
but then I thought that's a bit dodgy.
Yes, of course it is. Of course it is. You can't go around armed anymore, mate. Now listen, let's play out how the meeting with Ed Stafford may go. I'll play Ed Stafford, you be you.
You have no concept of who he is.
Hello, dear. Oh, who's this? Who's this slice of dreamboat floating my way?
All right, Ed, can you sign my axe?
No, thank you. I don't dilly-dally with nincompoops. Now, on I go about my merry way. I could survive anywhere. Oh, I'd love to
What's
be
the
there
name
on
of your
that glass
programme,
panel.
Ed?
I don't think about the names. I stay in the moment. Survival's all about surviving in the moment, you see.
That this is completely serious.
Under the
right?
skin
You're going to
with Russell
interview him
Brand.
about stuff. You don't know anything about
You wait till
him.
you hear it. I didn't listen, Matthew. Let me tell you something. Let me let you into a
No,
little secret.
I know what you're
I
gonna
don't know
say.
anything about any of the guests that I've already interviewed. And let me tell you something else. I don't care. No, I do care. No, of course
So
I
true.
care. I do care. But I say,
Yeah,
get
they
them
are
in.
all just
fresh.
different. Listen,
Fresh. See, that's the advantage. I'm
you
fresh.
see those people
Fresh.
as various
Exciting.
mirrors to see yourself reflected in.
Yeah, but isn't all relationship?
Oh, here we go.
But what is a mirror? I mean, Theo, what is Marxism?
But listen, Theo, Matt,
him into
or
that.
whoever you are,
Come on here.
with each person that you,
Bolshevik.
each person that you interact with, whether it's a deep and intimate relationship or whether it's a fleeting exchange, you only access the part of them that exists in your own consciousness. You don't know the depths of different characters, different people's lives, unless there is something happening on an essential level. You're just meeting the part of you that interacts with them.
That's beautiful and everything, but that is
Thank you.
simply being used as an excuse for not having
Yes, it
researched the
is.
guests on your
Yes,
podcast.
it is being used as a good excuse, and that is a very good excuse.
Oh,
and
dear.
now, thanks to you, a little girl called Sarah Bainbridge has had her Christmas ruined by this guy, Adgert.
This is Radio X.
Russell Brand. Russell Brand.
You're listening to me. Wait, hang on.
X.
Back off, love. Back off. You're listening to Russell Brand on Radio X. Well, we've listened to Noel then. We've had Oasis, Noel Gallagher, and later we're going to be talking to Noel Gallagher. Come on. What is this? With his own private little network. That's what it is, isn't it? Then he'd been in here yesterday doing a big long interview. How much Noel Gallagher are people being subjected to on Radio X? It's too much for people, isn't it? We're all sick and tired of him. He's coming up later. It's Noel Gallagher. What's the name of his new album, Matthew?
The Man Who Built the Moon.
Silly. Childish name for a record. Right, well, anyway, he'll be in here later now. He's a brilliant genius, isn't he? We'll love him.
And knowledge.
Right, okay. Now, Matt Morgan recently, when asked to come up with an item, did that, and it was called Forgotten Knowledge, or as it's become affectionately known by you that listen to this show, Forgotten Knowledge, or Nan Knowledge, with Matt Morgan. Hasn't the world become a little bit complicated? Have we forgotten what's important? I haven't, but some of you have. And now it's Forgotten Knowledge with Mr. Matt Morgan.
I haven't actually got any more.
Oh.
I've got some. No, someone sent me a message. Listen to this
Someone sent that, yeah.
on Instagram. I'll find out their name later. And they said that someone told them every time an old person dies, a museum closes its doors.
Why? Oh, because the museums are for the
It's-
old.
Yes, it's a metaphor for the knowledge that
Oh,
that
they're a
person's lost.
museum.
You fool!
They're the museum. They don't say, oh,
No,
well,
I
it's
mean,
beautiful.
we're going to have no museums left.
Hang on a minute. What's that? Natural history, science. Oh, my God. We're down to our last
I went at
few.
the British Museum. Some girl called Elsie had died.
They just shut the
They
door.
shut the door.
It was just yellow tape all over the bloody place.
No, it means there's ancient knowledge lost.
See people as a museum.
People should interview
I
their
get it.
nans.
You're a museum. Nan is a museum. Right. This is your homework for this week, Radio X
A
listeners.
little gift shop had closed.
I'm trying to do something here that's good.
Come on.
And this is it. What you got to do, right? This is your project for this week. Go up to your nan, and if your nan is sadly dead, go up to someone else's nan and go, give us some nan knowledge, a tidbit, right? But say that bit very clearly because you don't want them baffled. Go, Nan, give us a tidbit, a bit of secret nan knowledge from yesteryear. Don't wink while you're saying it. You'll confuse them. Nan, give us a tidbit, a bit of secret nan knowledge from yesteryear, and it must be rubbish. E.g., Matt came up with a bit last week. What was it? Pick apples in the moon.
Yeah, in the moonlight, not in the moon.
Isn't that what Matt's?
Would it?
Is that Noel's new album? Nan, get on the moon with your nan and pick us an apple.
Listen to
love.
this, actually, because Harrison has sent us an email
Thanks,
about
Harrison.
this brilliant item of mine. He said, yeah, here we go. A mum, when cooking pork, his mum, always used to cut someone else's mum.
Oh, someone's
A
mum.
mum, when cooking pork, always used to cut the top off the pork and lay it in the same baking tray as the rest of the pork. After years of seeing this, the daughter once asked, "Why'd you do that, mum?" To which the mum replied, "I'm not sure. You'll have to ask your grandma. I always saw her do it." The grandma then explained that she only cut the top off the pork because it didn't fit in her baking tray otherwise. So a totally unnecessary thing for the daughter to do.
Nan knowledge.
See? Well, that was silly Nan knowledge.
Now, taking Nan knowledge to a new dimension, we have here, about to enter, the king of Nans, the god of Nans, a man who you actually look beautiful.
Oh.
You look so handsome. We're actually broadcasting, right? We're not broadcasting, we're making radio right now, and into the room has come the chosen one. Oh, look, he's actually walking around and giving me a cuddle. We made a decision to do it. Hello. What a joy. How lovely to see you. You look really handsome.
Very cool.
I was going to say welcome to Radio X, but it doesn't seem like an appropriate name anymore, seeing that it's basically the Noel Gallagher promotion network. Like, I mean, all we've done, we've played...
All I've done is I've been here for 2 days and just gone home. That's
Stick some cans on, mate. Stick some cans on. We've played...
We don't do cans.
Put some on because there's nice music. There's a music bed that you might enjoy. Because for Matt's item, well, you're not going to.
It'll mess my magnificent hair up.
I'm telling you now, you're fighting a losing battle, darling.
I don't care.
That ship has sailed.
I'm prepared to lose that battle.
Well, don't you want to listen to this musical bed?
No.
It's a nice musical bed. Welcome now on the Russell Brand Show, which is a subsidiary of the Noel Gallagher Promotion Network. We have Mr. Noel Gallagher here to promote his new record, My Nan's on the Moon. How's it going, Noel?
Nana Moon. It's going pretty well.
Oh dear, don't make an album that's artistically ambitious, darling. Don't try to use a different range of influences.
I knew there was a reason when I left the house, thought, shall I bring him this? No, you can download it like everyone else.
Did you not bring the CD like you pledged to?
I knew you were going to mock it.
I actually, before you come in here, I've been saying such nice things about you.
Really? Why is it that when we see each other, because I say lots of nice things about you, but I can't bring to say them to your face. Why is that? Or even on the phone.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because that's right. When you're not around,
you end up in a tryst.
Yeah, I think there's a tension.
Yeah, I think it's got to happen on it.
I get on really well with your family. I get on well with your wife. I get on well with your daughter. I get on well with your boys. I love them all. But me and you, there's a tension has evolved.
Yeah.
You get together and it's like.
Do you think it is a
circle each other like sharks?
It's interesting, isn't it? Come on, let's try and be nice to each other.
Be nice.
Not just for ourselves, but for the radio show, for Britain in general.
Okay, and it is a Sunday after all.
It's a Sunday. God, he's professional, isn't he? It's a Sunday. People are listening. People come here for a sense of community and togetherness. Or, you know, people like Noel come here because the whole of this radio station, it seems, is dedicated to the promotion of your new album.
Somebody gave me an award here because it's a fact that on Radio X you're never more than 50 minutes away from them playing a song that I've written.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
You're completely dominating the content.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the album in a professional way? Come on, let's try a little bit of it. Well, because otherwise we're going to drift into what's been going on here, forgotten knowledge, things that we learned from our nans.
I've been talking about the album for ages.
All right, then.
Let's ask Noel if he's got any forgotten knowledge.
Have you got any forgotten knowledge?
Things that nans knew or like told, you know, like...
Both my grandma and my nana were from the Republic of Ireland, and they were born in the 30s maybe. So who knows what they've forgotten? They were born before televisions and all that.
Then they pass nothing down to Peggy, like a bit of nan knowledge.
Swearing. My grandma, she had a vicious tongue, and I got that off her, and she smoked like a trooper. And I always have this vision of her. She could eat a meal, drink and smoke at the same time.
That's impressive, actually.
It is impressive.
Do you reckon she smoked in the bath or the shower?
Never had a bath where she came from. She washed in the river.
Did. Washed in the river or the sink or something. Or just in the spit of a coal miner. Or a rebel Republican militiaman who were just washing the saliva of the people fighting for freedom over there in Ireland.
What knowledge have you forgotten?
God, everything, really. I mean, when I think, my relationship with my nan was primarily, borrowing a pension book to take the money to score, of course.
Are we still peddling that knowledge?
Still going strong.
I'm going to ring the last
few drops out of that. And also going there for omelette and chips in the middle of the night. I don't remember being passed.
Ruining my item.
All right, hold on, do you? Yes,
last week we spoke about how if you're meant to pick apples in the moonlight because they draw up more water and they'll last longer. Wow. All these ancient things that have been forgotten. Not stealing your nan's money and spitting on Noel's nan.
We've really undermined the whole atmosphere of a nan.
Item.
No,
Picking apples in the moonlight.
Yeah.
Sounds like a sort of my Thin Lizzy, doesn't it?
they retain more moisture, see, Noel, in that moonlight. The same way that the moon controls tides, the way that we're all one, the way that nature governs all
Still
things.
does these speeches.
I do a lot more of these speeches now. They've really been stepped up.
Well, we're on the subject of the moon.
Noel Gallagher's, what is it, the man who built the moon?
Yeah.
Man who built the
Why are you
moon.
looking at me, asking me?
Because he won't cooperate.
Oh, right.
So
It is called that.
Well,
It's very good.
Yeah, it's very good.
G's not here. He's doing charitable work. So that's
what's
where
he
he's
doing?
gone, helping out people that were affected by Grenfell. So that means that now, thanks
You
to
do
that,
poetry. Are you a poet?
you're not going to get a poem out of Jenny May Finn.
Noel will do the poem. No, he
Actually,
writes
it would be
lyrics.
nice if you summarised this with a poem. I think
No,
we
I'm late
get
to
ready for the
party,
word
aren't I?
shine,
Can't really-
featuring very heavily in the summary of the show. Okay, listen. So we've done that. That's one of the things you've missed. Nan knowledge. We also, the bloke Theo Paphitis out of Dragon's Den. We had him on here because
No way. Yeah, I remember. He used to be chairman of Millwall or something.
Did he?
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, he's
Right.
on Millwall.
Yeah, it says it on there, yeah. 8 marvellous years.
There's no such thing as 8 marvellous years at Millwall. So, but like he, nonetheless, came on here and Matt pitched ideas to him, like extendable children's shoes, concertina children's shoes. Sick
Shoes
and
that
tired.
grow with the child.
Yeah.
See, his face is lit up. He wants to back that.
Anything else?
Theo Paphitis, like, he made noises on there that made it sound like he felt he was really wasting his time and he was
I've
antagonised.
thought that the phone could do with some kind of lighter attached to it.
Phone lighters, like a Swiss Army knife phone.
Yeah, because if you could just, like say go on a night out, because you don't, because the phone can do everything, right? But imagine if it had a little lighter.
So you want to incorporate a lighter in the phone?
Lighter in
Get
the
Theo back on the phone.
Everyone does vaping now.
What Noel Gallagher's
Smoking's like Nan knowledge.
I do
phone vapes. What about phone vapes? You have a vape
on, the
your phone.
I do. I'm partial to a vape. Yes.
We could be vaping ourselves senseless on our bloody phones. You're going to come for that. We're having a big Christmas shindig. Up to 28 people are going to be allowed into the studio. Yes, downstairs is the studio.
Theatre.
All right. Okay. When is it? What date is it?
17th, not at Noel Gallagher Radio. We'll be doing a special celebration.
Around, I'll come.
Yeah,
Give
please
something
do.
back.
How's your life then? How's everything going?
It's good. It's good. It's been a bit of a busy day. I've been on the radio all day, but it's been
You was on
good.
Chris Evans this morning.
I was on Chris Evans.
My
this
name
morning.
come up.
Your name, fortunately, did not come up. I was just lying to you before when I said that I'd said that on national radio. I told Russell that I'd said, I used to come in this radio station with what was his name again now? Oh, lanky fella
Mean.
that may have done a bit of drugs. What was his name? Lanky, skinny, no good for now. Got us all fired. Russell Brand, that was it.
Was it in our old studio?
It was in the old studio, yeah. In our old studio, yeah.
Oh.
I'm just glad they kept the place open, that they didn't seal it off like Gloucester Road or some sort of place of national tragedy that needed to be sealed. Right, listen to this. This is actually some content from listeners, and I'd like to pass on this question to everybody present. It's Edmund Nash. He says, hello to all of you. I'm new to this podcast. I've given it 5 stars. It's fantastic. Here is my question for you. Would any of you accept a knighthood if that knighthood were offered, or in the case of Russell, as it inevitably will be? No. Would you accept any kind of gong from Her Majesty?
I don't think it'll ever get offered, and if it did,
Because of the cup of tea drugs?
maybe because of that. In the 90s, I was...
Stay on mic on your own radio station.
No. Is the question.
Sure.
Because you think you're identified as a countercultural figure?
No. I just couldn't be bothered with the day out.
Yeah, go in there in that.
If they maybe sent it through the post,
Postal gong.
you know what I mean? Like it was
Take
delivered
it.
by a drone. You know what
That's
I mean? In
right.
the
And
back
if you were
garden.
out, you could have sort of like a metal box that would be outside the house at all times.
One of my ideas. He's mocking me.
And the object could go into the metal box where it'd be entered into a key code. And that's courtesy of Matt Morgan. That's one of the ideas that he pitched to Theo, a metal box.
Online deliveries, you'd never miss one. You have a coded box. The code is given to... His face is lit
Theo
up again.
spat his tea out like Del Boy at that idea. He was absolutely
Well, what about you then? Would you
flabbergasted.
have a knighthood? You'd never get a knighthood.
No, I've done too many
Surely the
stupid
question
things
is
now,
to
haven't I?
somebody: would you ever offer
Russell Brand a knight? That's the question.
Under what?
Because you would accept it,
circumstances?
because quite frankly,
Yeah,
you'd
I
accept
think-
anything that was given to you.
Yeah, I'll
He would
take it.
accept it.
No,
And then
well,
he'd go, but what is a knighthood? I mean, what is a queen? I mean, you know, it's just, I just wanted to see inside the palace. I did it for my mum, really.
Are you the man who started the failed revolution? Oh, don't worry about that. It's still going. Take that hat off.
no, you're quite right.
I would.
You would.
No, I wouldn't.
Have you? I mean,
You would. I can tell you would. Yeah.
have you gone back to your old school and done a speech?
My old school.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Have you done anything like that?
No.
You've not done anything that's sort of like civic-minded.
No way. Somebody asked me that I was going up to Manchester the other week. Someone on the train said, "Are you going up to switch the lights on?"
Oh yeah.
Lights, and I was
Well,
like,
because there's no
"Really?"
greater honour.
It's a little naff, isn't it?
There's no greater honour than 10 lights. Because if you think about it, we live in a society bereft of rituals.
Oh, here
Have
we
you
go.
switched on the Christmas lights
Yeah.
recently?
Marlow
Russell?
lights with Russell Brand, and as you can see, the crowd still flood to see me outside the glass panel in the corridor now. People, may I say, of a very pleasing ethnic mix gather outside, 50-50 between the colours. Invite them in. Bring them in for the atmosphere, Neil. Bring them in, or Gareth. Someone just open that door. Come in here and enjoy the experience. Come in. Here they come. The people of Britain, much as they were
gonna
in
be a
Marlow.
disaster.
Hello, everyone. Come in, welcome. How come you're at Radio X, or as we call it now, Noel Gallagher Radio, where Noel Gallagher gets to promote his record? What are you doing? You're on a tour? Yeah. Where are you all from?
School trip.
Come right over. You're from a school trip. Right, you can speak into this microphone, and we'll all stand in like soldiers. What's your name? Where are you from?
Shadia and I'm from Enfield.
Oh, Shadia. What, you're on a school trip? How old are you, mate?
17.
You're 17. Bloody hell, how come you're still at school at 17? Don't you get kicked out at around 14?
Levels.
All right, okay. And what about you? You're all from some academy in... Why are you doing a tour of Radio X? Could you tell me, mate?
Yeah.
Oh, you're music students.
You have come to the right place.
I wish we had someone here with a bit of musical knowledge
Yes.
to pass on. Someone whose songs are played every 10 to 15 seconds on this radio station. Of course, we're here with the great icon of British music, Mr. Noel Gallagher, the person that's in some ways written the new national anthem of our nation with many of his tracks. What are you learning about music then? Do you want to ask Noel anything? Any of you?
Ask me who, in my opinion, has committed the biggest crimes against music.
Come on, the biggest crime. Mr. Gallagher,
I would know.
which particular atrocities are you referring to?
My mind wanders back to that sad event at the Olympic Stadium.
Yeah. I am here. No, that was it. Come with me and you'll be. This is me at the Olympics. I'm sure you will remember being young people. It's probably etched into your cultural memory. The Great Olympics. You remember, do you, young people? No. They look blank. They look disappointed. They look confused and disillusioned. Well, if you don't remember my rendering of Come With Me and You'll Be in a World of Pure Imagination, which was great at the Olympics, lit up the London Stadium in a way that's not been seen since West Ham took up residence there, let me tell you.
I suggest that you type in his name on YouTube and they'll come up. This video has been taken down.
Taste reasons.
Horrific content.
But if you're not familiar with that, perhaps you know of my track When I'm 64, another great gem.
Got all about that.
When I get older,
Did you ever watch
losing my
EastEnders when you
hair?
was like little children? Do you remember Dot Cotton? If you can
They remember
imagine
Dot
Cotton having a stroke singing When I'm 64, you've pretty much got...
Why imagine it when we have the gift of radio and one of the world's great entertainers with us now? When I get older, losing my hair. I'm feeling concerned.
It was higher than that.
20 years from now. You still wish the children look really well. They're not children, they're young people, but they look sickened. What's your name, young fella, my lad? Come to the microphone. I sense content in you.
I'm Liam.
Liam, how old are you, mate?
17.
Lovely name, by the way.
17.
You're 17. And what's your angle on music?
I wanted to be a producer when I'm older.
Where you from, mate? Enfield and all?
I'm Enfield, yeah.
Nice one. What kind of stuff are you into?
Big Shack.
House.
You into Big Shack?
House music.
What sort of house music? Because I know a lot about that.
I'm sort of like into MK at the moment.
Yeah, MK. Oh, MK, old son. You know, like, I can't get sleep at night unless I have MK. I put it on the wireless. I do, and I listen like mad to old MK. What else are you into?
Sort of like, well, my favourite song before was House Every Weekend.
I love that track. I love that track. Well, I mean, do you know this? 'Cause you've got a daughter who's a. Do you know what he's talking about, young Liam?
I'm aware of MK.
Do you?
Yeah.
someone's turned on the TV now or the radio, I don't know anything that's happening, and often it's my own show. Very challenging times, very challenging. Well, thank you, young people, for coming and contributing. You have spent time with one national icon and a man who used to be in Oasis. Thank you very much for joining us, you beautiful young people. Good luck in your careers in music, because I believe that children are, in fact, the present, yeah? They're actually the present is what's happening. See you later. Thanks for coming. Do you want anything? What do you want, mate? Do you want to get a photo? Because you've not gone. Liam's stuck around, which is uncustomary. Let's face it, given the lad's name. I'll do that. Good lad, Liam. Nice one. No, you can't have a photo. No, of course you can. No, go round there, go round. Oh. Did you actually not want the photo with me and you did it sort of out of politeness? He's been listening to a lot of Oasis. Why didn't you say that when I asked you about your favourite music instead of saying I like MK Dons?
Mate, good luck.
Look, see, he's all moved by Noel. See that's a young person, 17, genuinely. He's gone out there beaming, smiling.
Well, your shtick is transient. Almost it's culturally significant.
Absolutely timeless cultural artefacts and
a fluid flow of generations.
That's right. I'm not arguing with that, mate. I'm not arguing that. I've been one of your great supporters. I think you're a great genius. We're going to have. I mean, it seems ironic. We're going to have an advert because, frankly, the whole show is an advert for Noel Gallagher. But let's have an advert that we've been paid for in a more direct way. You are listening to Russell Brand on Radio X. Joining me, of course, is Matt Morgan.
Hello.
And Noel Gallagher. You're here.
Hello.
You're here.
I'm here.
What are you talking about, you two? What songs do you want to play of Noel's?
Dead in the Water.
Yeah, why?
It's a bonus track on the album. And he didn't even know it was being recorded.
What was the video you two made about,
have no name.
without involving me?
You two.
You two made
the thing that we did.
Without involving
That's
me.
going down
What
a
was
storm
that?
on the internet.
What is
It
it?
was like a quick fire interview.
Did you write the questions?
Yes.
So what happened? Why?
Noel's idea. I wrote the questions.
Why
he
didn't you
he asked
involve
a
me?
series of very, very funny questions.
What like?
Like, do you... Can we say that? Can we say it? Yeah, we can we?
Yeah.
Do you prefer... It was like, fast or slow, blah, blah, Chinese or Indian? And as I said Chinese, he went boys.
And when the answer I really wanted to know, because he lives between his London home and the country house.
Checkers.
Yeah.
Crinkly bottom. I was asking, does he have a toothbrush in each house, or does he have a little wash bag that he goes between the two places? Guess.
Right.
What do you reckon?
Toothbrush in each, surely.
He's
got a little travel bag.
A little travel bag.
With little Paddington bears on it.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Yeah.
sweetheart. That's so lovely.
Yeah, so if you know what you want to get me for Christmas, when you pop pickers
lovely
out
little
there,
wash bag for Noel.
Do a little crinkly bottom wash bag with the face of Mr. Blobby on the front.
That was what we want. That's
Yeah.
precisely.
Keep your clothes. You've got a sort of clothes at both houses.
No, can't do it.
So, Matt, did you, when you were composing those questions, mate, what you thought, this is the
He asked
things
me,
I'd really like to know?
He asked me, was it true? Did I own a black speedboat called Frightwater?
I said yes.
Which, if I didn't, I will. Very
He's going to
soon.
buy one. So
Yeah,
no, it's good. It's funny. I think there's a 9-minute version.
Didn't slag you off once.
Thank you.
No.
That's kind of you. We'll
Mention you once, which you
Well,
probably
that's
be very
actually
upset
more
about.
We were
offensive.
thinking about you.
Why don't we? We'll have a look at it. We'll tweet it. We'll put it out there. I mean, I'm sure it's a great cultural artifact. This is a thing you'll enjoy. I've done this TV show like last month. It's going to be on TV in January on Comedy Central called Comedy Roast. Right, Jimmy Carr hosts it. It's a female comic called Catherine Ryan on there as well, and it's like people come on, two comics, and have a row with each other.
Oh, like a battle.
Like a roast battle. In fact, that's the name of the show, Comedy Roast Battle.
Oh, okay.
All right, and like I thought, and I was maybe one of the judges. I thought it'd be like Strictly Come Dancing, and I'd be like Craig Revel Horwood. I'd just make a sort of a sly little remark at the end.
Your timing was off. Your clothes were rubbish.
Perfect, exactly. That's what I was anticipating. Instead of which, mate, I was hauled into this cyclone of condemnation. Like people were like, mate, the Katy Perry jokes here, all sorts of. I'm like, well, I'm not doing this, right? Like, 'cause I've not paid any attention to what it was because, like, my agent was integral in putting it together. Looks after Jimmy as well. I go, oh yeah, all right, I'll do it. Sounds like a laugh. Why not? Right? Like, a couple of days' work, no problem. It was absolute nonsense. I called up after day one of it. I was like did a whitey. I was like someone that had been through like a deep trauma. It was like living in a nightmare. What it felt like, Noel, is that I'd licensed people to say the rudest and worst things they could could possibly say to me. And because, like, in that situation, you know, with Jimmy, there's one or two things you can say to Jimmy Carr. You'll know the sort of like news stories. Once you've peddled through that, then you're left with me, like some great Jabba the Hutt of controversy to throw knives at. After night one, I goes, I need to go there armed tomorrow. I called up Matthew. I goes, Matt, I've agreed to do this thing. I don't like it. Everyone's been so horrible to me.
It's like, well, I call Johnny Marr when I'm stuck with stuff in the studio. He is your Johnny Marr, isn't
my
he?
Johnny Marr. I called him up and I goes, this is horrible, this show. Can you come up with some, like, just firstly some generic put down? I goes, I don't really think like that anymore. And can you come up with some generic put downs for me? And then just some specific stuff on, like, maybe Jimmy Carr and Catherine Ryan stuff. And Matt goes, yeah, all right, mate. It was like I'd gone to some, like, the email that he sent back. Man, I can't say any of this. This is the cruelest, darkest stuff. I was laughing, but I was going, oh my God, Jesus.
Well, when you unlock the door with that fella over there, it does get pretty breezy.
It was like going to someone, like, if you involve the mob or something. It's like, oh no, this has got out of hand now. Yeah, we've burnt the restaurant down. They're all dead.
Just knowing you had it there.
Sure you want to go here?
Yeah.
Are you sure you want to come in here?
I held that little bit of paper in my hand for the day too, and I thought, you say anything to me, you swine. I'm so armed up here.
Once you've done the old tax fiddle with Jimmy Carr, you're pretty much out of material, aren't you?
That's it, you're done, and Jimmy can handle that.
He's got a funny laugh, he's got very white teeth.
Yeah, well, you don't want to delve into Matt Morgan's. It was just so, like, that's enough of that.
Did you find his weak spot? Did you find an Achilles heel for the man?
For who, Jimmy?
Yeah, well, you know.
It wasn't necessary. Every single person. It was like the last bit of The Matrix where he just picks bullets out of the sky in slow motion. That's what it'd have been like. Because
it's the easiest thing in the world to be horrible.
Unlocking the code of people's. That's what it was. He just went into. So Matt Morgan, we know, is basically sitting on a seething pool,
a volcano of hate,
venom and hatred that could go off at any moment. It was really good to have him there. It was like knowing that you're like, oh, I'll just unleash Matt.
So what happened? In the end?
He had a word. You had a word and said, don't let anyone talk to me. No one can look at me anymore.
Well, we wouldn't have any more.
I've got a piece of paper.
Let me just show you this piece of paper. It's like showing a politician a picture of them in some position, a compromising position. I just went, look, I've got this bit of paper, everyone. All right, so let's not get involved in none of that. Hey, we don't. No one's saying nothing silly anymore. No, I understood, Mr. Brand. Understood. Rest of the show is like comedy roast battle and a few compliments for old Russ. That's how the rest.
When's it on telly?
I think it's on in January.
So you were sitting there making a paper aeroplane out of the piece of paper.
Yeah.
Like ticking your teeth with it.
Yeah, if anyone looked my way, little
tap
tap on the paper.
Oh, no, you don't want me to wake up Margot, do you? Margot's resting.
Do not be a silly boy.
Yeah, that's what it was like. It was a really, really lovely experience.
Well, I'm not going to watch it now then, if that's the case.
No, you get it. Yeah, I mean,
was it? How many shows of it are there?
I think 6. Yeah, I think 6 episodes.
So is the first one going to be more sort of harsh against you, and then it's sort of.
I'll maybe watch
not after the editorial notes. No. I'm like, you can't use any of that. What are you doing? I didn't realise what it was. It was.
Why didn't you read the? I bet there was a bit of paper sent to you.
That's right. Same as Under the Skin. Like, you know, like someone went, this is Comedy Roast Battle. I mean, the name is Comedy Roast Battle. I just thought, oh, that sounds lovely. Delicious Yorkshire puddings.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't think like it's going to be a searing, sniping, savage, call Matt Morgan quickly type of scenario. Yeah, but actually, though, it was pretty funny. But it's just I'm not that sort of a person,
don't
really.
attack people, do you? No.
If you think about it, like other than some notable incidents from the past where where it's sort of galumphing, bumbling as opposed to absolute malice. Hold on a minute. So someone's holding up a piece of paper here, or a whiteboard, and on it says Noel's new album, his best work since Morning Glory, NME.
That's me holding up that whiteboard.
That was held up by Mr. Noel Gallagher. Yeah, is it? Are you happy with it? Are you proud of it from an artistic perspective?
Yep.
Are you still able to access your genie when you're going to work now? Does it feel like the same thing? Does it have a connection to being like when you were being young and impoverished? Do you still feel you're communing with your muse?
It's slightly different as I'm solo now. In a band, you used to be kind of, you have to have a responsibility to the band, but now I can do whatever I want. So I feel a little more untethered. So I can do what I want.
Really. Is it surprising? Do you feel like there's stuff in you that's surprising?
I've been surprised at the resistance from my fans.
really?
Yeah, they've been resistant to it thus far.
Yeah, well, I suppose because you mean a particular thing to people. I suppose maybe it's like with West Ham. There's you've got to play the West Ham way. So if Sam Allardyce is boss or David Moyes, then it's like, well, this is not what we're used to.
This track you're going to play, Dead in the Water, I think my fan base would probably like me to do a full album of acoustic songs, but that'd be boring.
So that's a challenge, I suppose, because as an artist, you want to be explorative and go deeper into yourself, but then there are financial obligations, not only financial obligations to, I suppose, a fan base.
If I hadn't have already sold 76 million albums, I might worry about the
But
financial
who's
obligations.
counting?
But as it is, Russell, their financial obligations, they don't
have
count
been
anymore.
met, school fees
I mean,
paid.
you've met one of my management said to me, I need to talk to you about your house. And I had the brilliant promoter. I said, which one?
Wow.
Oh.
There it is.
That's when you know.
Freedom, perfect freedom. So the things you're dealing, so you are creatively liberated because you don't have financial obligations. So when you're being creative, you think, I don't care what anybody.
Yeah,
I
but
don't care how this is received.
you can't feel owned by your fans by what, because we live in an age now where they can contact you via social media and all that, and if you're in any way weak of willed, you will give them what they want.
Yeah.
But if you've got to ultimately please yourself.
I suppose so, because otherwise you're not in connection
Yeah.
with the thing that serves you anyway. What artists do you think have managed those kind of transitions?
All the greats.
Who does
David
that?
Bowie always challenged his audience. Neil Young.
Yeah.
Beatles.
The Beatles. This is fascinating, is all the people that have resisted this so far, this album so far, claim to idolise the Beatles and John Lennon. And it's ironic that they're kind of like, oh no, we don't want him to do this, we want him to stay the same. Which is ironic.
In retrospect, though, the oeuvre of the Beatles does look like one consistent bit of work, but you were saying that if at the time you'd been experiencing Revolver and then Sgt. Pepper, you'd be going, oh no, they're changing again, they're changing again.
Well, there was a point in the Beatles, like around 69, where John met Yoko and started to go into his what became known as weird phase. And people, when Apple started, which is a fascinating tale, they just wanted them to still be the mop tops. Do you know what I mean? And they wanted them not to grow moustaches and say that they'd taken LSD. They still wanted them to do "She Loves You."
Yeah.
And there's that famous footage of the Beatle fangirls from Liverpool saying they were never the same when they moved to London.
Wow.
They were never the same.
Yeah, and I suppose the metaphor being that you become subject to cosmopolitan views, but really what had actually happened is they'd grown up and they're responding to different influences.
Good artists are always moving, aren't they? Always changing.
Yeah, because it's got to be. I suppose in a way, art comes from.
You went to America and started wearing a tie.
It's a tie now, guys, and the beard's gone.
People were stamping on his DVDs.
God awful daytime TV shows, and was like, "What's he wearing?" We go, "What's he wearing a tie for?"
It is a bit weird, isn't it, when you do that kind of stuff? I mean, for me...
You got into films and we were all going, no.
You best grow a beard, mate. Start being a bit weird.
Yeah.
Get some bloody mascara on and say something unusual to that daytime TV presenter. Quick, smart. Do something macabre.
Do you reckon you could change your act and how would your audience go with it?
I wonder, because I've transitioned from being a person that's just showing off about the different kinds of hedonism and decadence to being a person that's saying, I want to talk about spirit. Like a lot of what the act is now is I've been positioned in domesticity. I'm living, like, if privileged to the degree that I'm not poor, I'm living a normal life. My life is about dog, cats, chicken, bees, baby.
A children's book.
Yeah, I live in like a monosyllabic the world of domesticity, like a children. But I have different sort of challenges now.
You'll find the universal truths of life in that lots of people can relate to, as opposed to the gobbledygook about spirituality and the nonsense about politics.
How do you think you make that gobbledygook about spirituality and nonsense about politics apply to people?
You don't, clearly, because we've seen the figures.
But I think that they must, because in a way it's a similar journey to your own. It's like that, you're all right when you're...
My point is, you can't question the artistic decision to go there. You can question the execution of that decision and say whether you like it or not. But you can't say you shouldn't do that. You can't say, I can't say to you shouldn't talk about those things, but I can take the mickey when you fall flat on your arse.
Yeah, it is execution dependent. So, but the thing is that those things come with success and failure. E.g., say the truths. Loads of people are like, oh my God, yeah, thank God you're saying this, thank God you're saying this. And then other people are like, what are you doing this for? Why are you doing this for? What's going on?
You're doing that?
No, I do sort of different stuff. I do like a podcast now where I talk to people more. What I realise is that if you go at it with politics face first, you're going to get in trouble because people, basically, you just get accused of hypocrisy.
I did say that at the outset of this. I just said, just be very careful what you're getting yourself into here. And he said, no, it'll be fine. I'll be Prime Minister by the end of the month.
You mustn't worry about that, Noel. I'll give you a position in the cabinet.
Mayor of Manchester, weren't you?
Yeah, I was going to offer you that. But I still think that I think transition is occurring. And like, I suppose what you need to know is what you are. Like, as a comedian, I don't know what it is as a musician. Your relationship with culture is you're commentating. And I think I forget sometimes what I'm doing. Like, because when I go, I don't bother voting, no one votes. Like I think that a lot of people went, yeah, that's exactly how I feel. And people go, you feel that way? Perhaps I am Jesus. Like, and when really what it is just continue to speak to and for the voiceless, but try not to think, I own this thing now and I'm going to use it to get power. That's the problem. The problem I have is I'm very interested in power and change.
The problem I always thought that you had, particularly watching Newsnight, was that he hasn't got a clue what he's going on about. He's gone in here, and on Question Time, he spent an hour saying, yeah, I agree with that guy over there.
Yeah, but some things are. I think that there is a lot of stuff that's common sense. This is one of it. Like, right, the stuff I do under the skin, Noel, is about investigating some of those ideas. When I spoke to Billy Bragg, God love him, Billy Bragg goes, yeah, you went out there a bit sort of, you know, you were on your own. You did that sort of thing. He goes, because when we were doing it, it was like Paul Weller, the Labour Party, Red Wedge. You was just you and Gareth and the camera going, I instinctively feel that this is what should happen. So it's a bit mental. Listen, as if to emphasise the irony of the situation, we go from discussing Marxism and a society that isn't run by commerce to our old friend, the adverts.
Russell Brand.
Radio X.
You're listening to Russell Brand on Radio X. I'm here with Noel Gallagher. Matt's gone to the toilet. So tell us the story about this Dead in the Water thing. How did it come about?
So I was in people who are listening to Radio X now will have heard this.
I don't think regular Radio X listeners
3 days
come
in
to
a
this
row
show.
now. But I was in Dublin doing a radio session, and midway through the Chasing Yesterday tour, I'd written this song a couple of nights before, the song that we're going to hear, Dead in the Water. And as one of the guys in between the takes of doing The Dying of the Light, which will probably be played on Radio X at some point today.
Might have already been in the show.
Yeah. It was happening around with the mic. I decided just to sing this song for myself. And I didn't realise it had been recorded. And a few weeks ago when it came to putting this album together, somebody said, do we have any bonus material? So I said, no, we didn't get around to doing B-sides. And
we struggled just to get the main content to be a bonus material.
Struggled to dance around the copyright of everybody else's tunes. One of my guys in the office who was from Dublin, who works for me in the office, Raymondo, said, oh, what about that track you did at that Dublin that time? And I was like, which one? He said, something about the water. And I went, yeah, what about it? And he said, I think they recorded that day. And I was unaware. And then when we got hold of them and got the tapes, and when we heard it, it was like, it's a real personal moment, because it's me singing for myself. And it's the only time I've ever performed that song. And
wow.
It's amazing.
So, and is it is it a song that you'd written some time ago, or what's
a few days before?
A few days ago, you'd written it, and you're just sort of trying it out for yourself.
My keyboard player was opposite me, and I was willing him to stop playing because he didn't know the song, but he managed to hang on in the chords. And of course, my songs are all repetitive, and any kind of monkey can play them. And once you've heard it for a minute, you've heard it. And there's the studio chat at the beginning of them saying, do you want to do one more take? I'm just going to move this mic or whatever it is.
Oh, that's lovely.
But it's a beautiful moment.
All right, I want to bloody well hear that. Let's listen to that now, shall we?
This is Radio X.
Russell Brand.
By a young man called Noel Gallagher. I mean, that's actually incredibly beautiful, and it did seem to me to be about what we were just talking about, is accessing the essence that one has as an artist and not losing it because of...
There's nothing to hide behind there. It's live. It's just me and a guitar and accompanied with the guy on the piano.
I was thinking,
and that's it. That's kind of what it is.
If it was by like a 20-year-old that I hadn't heard of, and they goes, "Have you heard this thing?" I go, "That's amazing." That so in a way, it shows that you're still connected to the source, as it were. And I think any artist that has that capacity does have the right to take their audience wherever they want to go.
I wrote that song. No word of a lie in about 40 minutes.
Well, that's what's strange, I think, is that, and it's difficult to talk to you about stuff like this because our relationship doesn't really accommodate this kind of conversation. But it's like that. What is it that happens through creativity? Where is it coming from?
No, that's why we're drawn to it. That's why, not to bring it down a bit, but the moment in Manchester when the girl got everyone to rally around "Don't Look Back in Anger." That's why, because in that moment, politicians' words are not enough.
No.
And religious leaders' words are the same old, but for some reason, everybody rallies around a song and they've got a different interpretation of it, and it means something to them.
Because it's about feeling, and some things are beyond words.
Yeah, beyond the words, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I always, because when I'm interviewing you or Morrissey, I sometimes try and go, no, but what is it, Noel? What are you coming? Like when I listen to that, there's beauty, pathos, melancholy, longing, yearning, awareness of.
It's fragile as well.
So you can't live with that feeling in your actual day-to-day Noel Gallagher personality because it's too gentle.
I'm not like that. I'm not like that as a person, but it's getting so. Because it's such a personal moment that maybe I am, do you know what I mean? And it's got so, because if I'm singing that to a crowd or I know it's been recorded, I'm taking on a different slant on it. So I'm kind of performing it to people. Whereas while I'm doing that, there's people walking around fixing microphones. So I'm just in the moment with myself there.
Sure. But I don't think that what you did there is dissimilar to other examples of your work, in that there is an essential quality that seems very truthful. But whenever I go, no, what do you mean by that? Is that about this, that? And you go, oh, no. You know, you won't have it, will you?
Turn into Jimmy Savile.
Or perhaps a less contentious figure. But certainly you don't know how to, and why should you? But be sort of an ambassador for your own art in conversation. You let the art be what it is.
It's coming from somewhere, and you're just putting it out there, and everyone else decides. And I shrug my shoulders sometimes and go, well, I don't know why. Why is "Don't Look Back in Anger" or "Wonderwall" the biggest songs of my canon and not "Cigarettes and Alcohol" and "Rock and Roll Star"? Who knows?
It's difficult to know what happens. I think that genius in general is when someone does something and you think, well, I can't see why that would have happened, whether it's a Cruyff turn or whether it's a melody. You think, how would a person be able to do that? You don't understand. And I think that why it is so resonant is because implicit in it is there must be some other realm that things are coming from, even if that realm is the imagination. And like Matt goes, you've got to play this thing on it. And we're like, oddly, given that this is a music radio station, we don't this is a daft muck about show. We don't normally do musical analysis or be identified particularly with the music, but and even for me, and sitting and listening to it is because it takes me to a place of reflection and introspection that doesn't. My personality as a comedian is built on keeping a certain amount of distance from pain.
You're never melancholy in person. Do you know what I mean? So that's it's weird.
But I'm not overly emotional, but that's where it comes out.
Because you've got that outlet anyway, so it probably doesn't need to come out in a chat.
In that specific moment, particularly in that thing that we've just heard, when you're writing a song that a million people are going to buy or are going to hear, even when you're writing it at home, you're chipping away at it and doing it differently. I was just trying that out. So that's as pure as it gets.
Yeah, it's hard to divorce yourself from the commodification, and I don't just mean economic commodification, but the fact that this is going to be a product that people are going to respond to. But in that moment, there is purity, and I suppose the job of the artist, in a way, is how much of that purity can you get through under the conditions that society and culture impose on you. And one of the constant complaints about culture is that idea has been lost altogether. You accept that music is just a product. It doesn't have any relationship with a person's essence. There's no one going, this is what it feels like to be a human.
I think music does and always will do, but I think popular music, like when we was growing up, the charts were incredible.
Right.
And then when I'm always slagging music off and saying, what I mean is the charts.
Yeah.
Because you look at the charts and it's all generic transatlantic rubbish.
But human beings are still creative. People are still communicating and expressing their things. So what I would return this to, and get ready for it, everyone, is that the problem is commerce and commodification. That human beings are always going to be creative. They're always going to seek out a connection with the sublime, the super mechanical.
And you can do that into politics, because politicians are now more, and governments are now, as long as the economics are all right, that's their get out of jail card for everything.
Yeah.
Whereas when we was growing up, politicians like Neil Kinnock, they actually seemed to passionately care about society. Now it's like, as long as everyone's got one of these, holding up an iPhone, and a copy of my album, hopefully, things are good.
And the book recovery.
And a get out of jail card. You know.
Yes, you're quite right. One of the things that Adam Curtis talks about a lot, the documentary maker, is that that politicians no longer offer you a connection to feeling what it feels to be British. And then so when something like Brexit happens, I have a sense that it's because people feel hugely disconnected, and that there is a sense of anger, and the impulse of anger is what people respond to, and it creates ugliness. Not that I'm saying I'm particularly pro or against Brexit, because I think like all of those administrative bureaucratic things aren't serving ordinary people anyway. You know my views. Anyway, let's have a quick, it's those guys again. It's always better on this show when Noel Gallagher's here. What about a round of applause for Noel Gallagher, just having his legs under the table. Very cerebral, very like, do you think we can nick some time for somewhere else so I can do sort of a closing link, or should we leave it all for the podcast? We've got to wrap it up. We're going to have to leave it all for the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, what a show it's been. It's not been summarised in rhyme, but it has been summarised perhaps by we've got a poet laureate on our show, but also this country has a poet laureate, and I think it's been confirmed once more that man is Noel Gallagher. Thank you for joining us, Noel Gallagher, talking emotionally from the heart. Well done, Matt, for irritating poor Theo Pathetis to the point where he actually lost interest in business. There's one point where he said, I think I'm going to become a communist. What's the point in making money? Metal box outside your house. What's the children's
Ask
shoes
quickly
that
about
grow?
Matthew McConaughey.
Why is Matthew McConaughey on your timeline? What's going on?
Because I met him at a wedding recently, and he said he came out with some of the greatest one-liners I've ever heard. One of which I'll tell you because it contains a lot of swearing. But when
We can do it as a podcast.
podcast.
And is Dead in the Water dedicated to Matthew McConaughey, your boyfriend, the icon of your heart. Coming up next, it's all of our friend, old Smarty Pants himself, Gordon Smart, will be on Radio X, and then it'll be some footballer from the mid-90s. Who's on? Phil Neville coming up. So if Peter Crouch comes in here and does a show, like weird things. Jermaine Defoe.
What? And I thought they were scraping the bottom of the barrel, getting you lot back.
No, we're underneath the barrel now. There's a ditch beneath that barrel, and we're broadcasting live from it. Thanks for joining us on Radio X. Remember, listen to the podcast. We love you. Bye-bye.
This is Radio X.
Russell Brand.
Well, what a show that was. What it is to be young, what it is to be alive. So we touched on I heard you saying something about Mary Berry, and Mary Berry is the person that turned on the Marlowe Christmas lights, one of the great accolades in British show business. Last year, the year before I did it, they've really raised the bar. So what's been going on with you and Mary Berry?
I know, we were just on the radio on Friday morning. She's got a new TV programme.
Why are you doing Mary Berry's promo? You're bored of your own?
He's asking me why.
All right.
While we're there. So she was there, and she had a bit of coffee cake for everybody in the studio.
She bought a bit of coffee cake.
What she'd made?
She said to me, would you like some coffee cake? And I said, oh no, it's 8:15, it's too early. She said, don't be so bloody ridiculous.
Did she? She's more rock and roll than you.
Yeah.
Mary Berry.
I used to do cake at 9 in the morning.
Some people say coffee cake, it's no worse than a cup of tea, really. A cup of coffee. We've never mixed tea and coffee. An oddly toxic mix, worth knowing. It can really unsettle people. There you go, Noel Gallagher hanging out with Mary Berry. All right, so we've drilled you on Matthew McConaughey. He's just a man with a lot of animal magnetism, but like people,
dude, got a lot of power.
Yeah, he sounds like he's running on Animus, and it's rippling out of his abs. Dominic Duggan said, wanted to know why you were Instagramming him, and now we do know that. It's because
it's a private joke that's gone
out of hand.
Gone out of hand now, yeah.
This is the sort of thing that happens on the podcast, Noel. South Korea has a penis theme park. So does Britain. You're listening to it. While North Korea is banned from singing and dancing, South Korea has a penis... North Korea's not banned from singing and dancing.
It is, recently.
You can't do singing and dancing.
Yeah, recently.
Oh, that's literally like some sort of post, and we've banned Christmas. Singing and dancing's actually gone now. Okay, well, let's get behind this Kim Jong-un guy. I like him. South Korea's got a penis-themed park. Hashtag-a-dang Good name for it. Hashingdang Park was built after the story of a young virgin woman whose fisherman lover left her on a rock while he went out to sea. Then she drowned, and her spirit can only be pleased by the sight of penis. So the people of South Korea made a park with her for almost 300 penises. So in a way, what this story is ridiculing the phallic culture of South Korea.
The culture, yes.
Yeah, in a way, every sort
There's not actually a penis theme park, really, is it?
No, it's not on the
It's
theme.
a theme park based on some story that has a penis in it.
Yeah, there's not a ride that's based on helmets or like sort of the Nutbag Cafe where you can sit on a beanbag and sip on some sort of insipid pearlescent soup, which is what I would have in a penis theme park.
Oh, hang on, there's some pictures of it. It is
actually. It's
a lot of
exactly what you'd
penises.
expect. We're looking at images of it now, and it's full of glorious, taut,
Theme
buoyant,
park
vascular
must
penises.
mean that you take children there, but that's going to be an awkward conversation, isn't it?
Unless we can reevaluate our attitudes towards genitalia. I mean, all of us that have got young children, you're naked around young children all of the time, the young children.
All of the time.
Not all of the time.
Right, we're home. Come on, kids. No, I mean, but some...
Kicking off his shoes on the way of the garden.
Let's get these extendable shoes right off, hurl them over the fence along with all of the rest of our outfits. But I mean, like,
nudity's not,
Yeah, it's not a bad thing.
But those penises
that South Korean theme park was
those
terrifying.
penises are erect. That's all I'm saying.
They are. I mean, I suppose that's part of the thing with a penis is it's got a variety of states. Some of the penises we're looking at now have been humanised with faces, and they look like enjoyable
Penis
chums.
is like a superhero because it has two states.
Two identities.
Yeah.
I think that
Don't jump on my idea.
No, I know this idea already. I think that
I just had it.
The template. No, I've had it. It's like all your ideas. Someone else has had it ages ago, which is another thing Theo Paphitis had to tell poor Matthew. There's already a thing called
I've
McDonald's.
defaced the picture of Theo with a little.
He's so
undermining.
upset by Theo. He's turned him into the
The
fear
man
of
calls
it.
himself a business entrepreneur. He shouldn't be ridiculing people's ideas.
I know.
He should be encouraging that. Hey,
And that
come
all
on.
my ideas
No bad
exist already,
ideas
which
in the
shows they were
brainstorm.
good ideas. Anyway, let's not get caught up in it.
And let's get caught up in the idea that the superhero motif of transitioning from Clark Kent is a flaccid penis, Superman is the erection. Like this Peter Parker, he is a winky curled up in a pair of pants, all shriveled up. It's been a terrible day. And Spider-Man is a taut, buoyant, priapic, web spraying erection.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Well, I just said. I had the
Do you
idea.
ever feel that
He
he's had
jumped
this
on it.
conversation with a small child?
Yes.
Do you do Father Christmas things
His
with
little
the
cape
kids?
on?
No, I hate Christmas.
Well, you don't even pretend there's a Father Christmas. Have you told him? 'Cause I'm thinking
last Christmas, our eldest Donovan came into our bedroom and threw one of his presents down, which still had the price on the back, and he went, "You liars!" And we were kind of, me and Sarah were hungover, going, "Oh God!" I had to go into the room and tell him to say, "Look, mate, what did you think? Do you think it was true that reindeers?" And he went, "Yes." And I went, "The fat guy in the white beard." He went,
Hang on, that's-
"Yes, I thought it was all true. You've lied to me." And
That's
I was
quite
like,
young to know
How
because
old is
I
he?
believed it till I was about 9 or 10. I think.
He's 10.
Don't you remember
okay, fair
a
enough.
period?
Last year.
I stuck with it to about 12. And wasn't there a period where you were discussing it going, with other children, going, well, no, listen, if you break this down, there can't be a Father Christmas.
Yeah.
You know, like there was the analysis period. But what Donovan's done there, he's had an abrupt enlightenment.
He's found it's either the price on something or oh no, he found the thing that was addressed to our house that had come from Amazon.
Right.
And he found the address, but there's the way he launched it across the chalet in Thailand.
Breathtaking to behold. Horrible story, a domestic drama worthy of the 1960s.
My little brother, when we were kids, he worked out because you used to get in. I don't know why in his stocking you get loads of toys, but a tangerine for some reason, right?
It's a
And
Scottish
he,
thing.
he said the thing is, he would have got away with this if he hadn't told my sister. He said, "I'm going to count the tangerines before we go to bed downstairs, and then see if there's because it's 4 brothers and sisters, 4 missing in the morning." But then my sister tipped off my mum, and somehow they got some tangerines from somewhere else. So in the morning he went, "It's all true. It's all true.
The tangerine test has been passed." But I said, look, 'cause I'm wondering whether or not with my baby to tell her. Like I was thinking, I said
Yeah,
to my
she
wife,
got to tell her because she'll go to school and say, "Oh, what is Christmas? Father Christmas doesn't exist," and ruin it for everyone.
That's right. But the kind of school she's going to go to, it'll be all hippies anyway, won't it? She's going to go to a school where everyone's just, all you have to do is draw in and start a fire, and they'll say you're brilliant. You know,
they're-
I'm thinking of not
it's
indoctrinating.
magical.
Look, this is the question. Is it me? I know that's what my wife says. It's magical. Don't ruin everyone's childhood and family life with your blinded
yours is
sister.
And put your clothes back on.
How many more childhoods need to be ruined?
Chain, Russell.
You're right, we are meant to be breaking the chain. But anyway, here comes the deep thing. The thing we were talking about on the show, about we don't understand the mystery of where, for example, Dead in the Water came from. How does this thing express itself and appear in a human form? I suppose what you're teaching children is that magic comes from somewhere, that there is a thing such as mystery. Terence McKenna says that the myth of Christmas is loaded with all sorts of important iconography, like elves make it. And these are kind of, like, elves make the toys. And this is an experience that a lot of people that take iOS or DMT, we're in the podcast now, experience. They experience the idea of machine elves. It's a common motif.
I just think there's a religious aspect to it, that it's like, Father Christmas is a saint. Do you know what I mean?
Saint
so
Nicholas.
It's all to do with getting people to believe in God, is what it is.
Or the mystery, but what is believing God? It's believe that there's something that's beyond our understanding, really. That's a sort of a placeholder.
Or is it a way to fleece money out of the poor?
Well, it becomes that, but everything becomes that. Consumerism becomes that. Music becomes that. Football becomes that.
Fleece money out of the rich as well, thank you very much.
We'll take everyone's money, yes, I'm sure.
I did think about that with Cohen. I was like, I don't want to fill his head with nonsense. Like, I had a lot of religious nonsense forced into my head. But there comes a time where you just go, right, stop doing that on Father Christmas. He's watching. And it ends up being quite good for blackmail.
Father Christmas has been on the phone. He is bloody furious with you.
You end up, man, you do things. I go, right, I'm calling your head teacher. He goes, no, please.
Yeah, he's on the line right now.
Yeah, and
it's a woman. Yep, that's right. I'm speaking to her.
Yeah, you end up.
There's always that period where when you're growing up, when you're thinking, it can't be true, and then someone says, but if you don't believe it,
yeah,
get no presents.
And also, if you see him, you just get a piece of coal and all that stuff. It's weird. But
in a way, it's called the Tinkerbell effect, but there is a notion that consciousness on some level is reacting to material reality, and it must be because consciousness comes from material
reality. What's the Tinkerbell
reality.
effect? Apart
if
from
you don't, the
your
Tinkerbell
new band.
effect. I'll sit on your lap for half an hour, no, for you, only you, and exclusively you, and you will feel that Tinkerbell effect. No, that if you don't believe in something, it's not real. The world is held together by faith. Great Britain is just an idea, right? West Ham United, just an idea. The Tinkerbell effect. If you say, I'm not British, there's no such thing as Britain, it's just an economic and geographical notion.
In actual terms, like the United States of America is actually just an idea, which is held together by that idea, because once people stop believing in that idea, the whole thing falls apart.
I think that's why they have to work so hard on the
That's why they promote the American dream, because if they don't,
it's over.
It's over.
Because the South wants to be the South, the coasts want to be the coast, and I think a return to city-states is probably the future. It's only like a few hundred years, but since Italy, there was no Italy. It was Florence and Venice and Rome, and I think it's a more manageable unit. I think the world can't cope with states, but Adam Curtis says it's a manageable amount. I've asked him about it. I'm researching revolution. It goes on. I'm still asking people these questions.
I think it's funny that anti-globalists. Do you remember when, what was it, 15 years ago, there used to be anti-capitalism protests and stuff?
Yeah, you were on one, weren't you?
Yeah, we went to one. It was good.
I went to several.
Yeah, he went to loads. But those people now, those sort of liberal people, are pro-EU, which is like a big corporate global thing. So
we've got a theory on that.
Have you?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like that ethno-nationalism is people experiencing globalization, and instead of diagnosing the real problem is transnational capitalism, identifying one of the other consequences of it, which is mass migration and immigration, because labour has to move to meet the economic needs created by this constant movement of capital. But so ethno-nationalism is like, no, we want to enforce our identity. We need to hold on to our identity. The thing that's happened over the last 20, 30 years is the liberal middle class, that you also always support the working class and the idea of equality, have abandoned it. Sort of the Guardian thousand worker. They don't like the working class anymore because the working class are, in inverted commas, racist, Brexit voting, etc. So they're now looking to ally themselves in new ways, and this is what the emergence of identity politics is. Look, we're still good people. We want everyone to be equal, and you can do what you want and wear what you want and say whatever you want to say. But the real problem of how do we affect power, how do we have a fairer society, they've abandoned that because they don't like the working class anymore.
That's the best thing you've ever said.
It's honestly controversial.
No, I like it. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
The working class are seen as
dirty,
embarrassing scumbags.
Well, I think there's a class below the working class.
Yeah, the underclass.
Yeah, and they're like that in-work poverty thing there was something on the news a few months ago.
Yeah,
Which I
yeah.
was gobsmacked at. It's like guys working 7 days a week and they're still classed as
banks
poor.
and-
It's
yeah.
mental.
Yeah. That is, and people trying to buy houses, like, I know people who are like got good jobs with directors and stuff. They can't even get the money together to get the deposit for a house.
Yeah.
So you think, well, how are normal people doing it? They're not.
Because I think the propensity of the economic system we had, and like we're all on the scale of privilege of to different degrees, but like it's gone to a point where it excludes too many people, and that's when I think you start to get social tension. And I don't think the ethno-national ideas are going to play out well. I don't think ordinary people will be aided by Trump or by Brexit, and when that happens, then it's going to be very interesting when those things don't work, when ordinary people's lives don't change, and the new ideas that empower those people, or at least address those questions, people will be very, I think, receptive
that's
to.
where Corbyn falls down, because he's got no new ideas.
Well,
They're all very old ideas.
Yeah, that's right.
This country needs a guy. He ain't the guy.
It's Russell. Yeah, I'm like that. Hold on, we can work this out in post.
His ideas they're very old. They're just it's an old way of thinking.
Wouldn't have been sorry for ruining that with Tangerine. But it is Christmas and I was a good boy. Those ideas wouldn't have been seen as particularly radical 50 years ago. They're not as radical as the post-war promise of housing and healthcare for the returning heroes of the Second World War. They're not radical. They just seem radical to us because we're used to, you've got to make your own luck in this world, son. And then people that do come from backgrounds that are comparable, that do well, it's very difficult to remember that we're chained, bonded, made in those communities. Yes, you.
I don't think. I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I remember where I come from.
You're probably the most working class person here by some margin. And quite frankly, give us your money. Right. Well, listen, we've got into some complicated territory. I think we've delivered a podcast. We started off talking about knobs in South Korea, ended up with knobs in the UK. You know what I mean?
Listen, are you going to come camping with me or not?
I want to come. I'll be doing Torquay on Saturday night. Me and
I'm
Matt are gay
sleeping
now.
outdoors.
No, we've become
Saturday
gays.
night and Sunday night.
That's right, we're gays. On Saturday night, Matt's sleeping in a private woods.
This Saturday?
Yeah.
This Saturday and Sunday.
What for?
You wouldn't be able to do it.
I love it. Listen, the man who's
You
coming
can't
in a
handle
minute.
it.
I would be able to do it, but I'm not doing it.
You wouldn't be able to handle
You wouldn't
it.
be able to do it.
Why?
Well, because you had an outdoor toilet for a
Why
week.
not?
You couldn't sleep outdoors.
I could sleep
What are you
outdoors
gonna do?
more than
You
you.
wouldn't even put headphones on because it would ruin your hair.
That's all right.
You're going to bring your little wash bag, are you? With your toothbrush, your Thomas the Tank Engine, with me and Matt, real men.
You're not
naked.
doing it.
I'll
Don't
come-
try and
you won't
join
be
in.
able to do it. I'll be there. I'll be in those
You
woods.
won't.
I've already packed my wash bag.
I've got.
Why?
You need a
Why?
winter sleeping bag. You need a bivvy bag. You need all sorts of
Bivvy
stuff.
bag?
Yeah.
He don't even know what a bivvy bag is, this kid.
Is that something like a First World War soldier carried?
A bivvy bag
Actually
is
was,
a
yeah.
special...
Bivvy bag, son.
Oh,
A bivvy
pack
is
the
a
bivvy
special... I'll
bag.
handle this, dear. It's a special sack that when a mummy and daddy love each other very much, they sneak into the bivvy bag, do they?
Yes.
And
If
cuddle
the
each
mummy
other's-
turns up,
I'm daddy. When daddy...
I'm the daddy.
Why are you doing it?
because there's a man called Ed
Because his
Stafford
wife went
who
away for
he's
5
interviewing.
days.
Listen,
His wife went away for 5 days. He's going on a spiteful camping trip.
no.
And we've all got to participate.
listen. I got into these survival shows. This guy called Ed Stafford, who he's interviewing next, and hasn't even watched the fucking show. Right?
Under the Skin with Russell Brand. Under the Skin.
Pull Back My Skin with Russell Brand, where he talks over people. Right? I got into it, and I thought I want to go camping. I want to survive. I want to light my own fire. I want to. Yeah? No?
Wow.
Sound like you just wanted to have some Frosties. They're great.
Right? So I'm going to go camping. He said, I'll come with you. Like that, in that voice. Without any prep. I've got loads of stuff prepped.
He'll come like that.
Yeah, he'll turn up like that.
And get in a bivvy bag with
Handsome
you.
looking.
Yeah.
Just for those of you that
It's
haven't
in
seen what I'm
Essex.
wearing
You're
today.
very welcome.
I'm from Essex.
But I want-
Those woods know
listen,
me.
the whole
I
thing-
grew in them woods. I am those woods.
Hang on, is it a load of other...
It's me on my
Just
own.
us in the woods.
No,
You coming?
listen, it's not
No.
you. Wait. What
Just
I wanted
me and Matt in the
was
woods.
48
We've
hours.
got a dream. A shared dream. 48 hours. I want to start a fire. I want to have some Frosties. They're great.
I wanted to go to be on my own in complete solitude.
With me. And we want to get in our skivvy bags.
I want to live outside like an animal for 48 hours on my own.
It's a vengeful thing because Katie went to
My back
Tenerife.
garden, it's big enough. Go live down the bottom
I
of there.
would.
I
I'd
won't
come
mind
down
you.
there. Yeah.
Will not mind you.
Put
I'm
some
coming on that
newspaper
camping
down for when I
holiday.
go to the toilet.
I'm coming.
please come.
I'm doing Torquay Saturday night. Great show.
Right.
Torquay. No,
as long as I get one night on my
hours.
own, because it's going to be cold, it's going to be hard. Not that.
It will when I get there, dear. It's going to be warm and stiff as you like.
But you are very welcome to turn up on Sunday night.
What if I come Saturday night? I come back from my gig. I'll arrive about 1:30. Woo, Matthew! It's not an owl. It's old Russ. Oh, mate.
You could, but you need
unzip that. Let me get in there with you. Room for one more.
You need to buy.
Grr.
You need to buy a few things, otherwise you'll ruin the whole trip by dying.
That won't. You're right.
I've got a foil blanket and stuff like that. But
buying a foil blanket.
No, what you need is a winter sleeping bag first of all. And then you need some underlayers. You need wool. You need.
Matt. I'm just now going to interview Ed Stafford. I will be so well equipped for the outdoor world, whereas you'll be like a little skittish Girl Scout.
I'm very good at this stuff. I was a scout. When I was a scout, I think they were watching me. They saw me and they thought he should be in the army. That man watching me in the showers was thinking he should be in the army.
Cannon fodder. That's what they were thinking. Whereas old Russ Sandhurst, make him an officer. He's a leader of men. He's the leader of men. He's our new messiah. It's the Russell Brand podcast.
Russell Brand.
Radio X.